Folks, this is a show I've been waiting for a very long time. Everyone talks about compensatory picks, comp picks. How many will we get? Will we get any at all? The Jets have been historically terrible receiving comp picks, but this year could be different. We have an expert to break it all down, to answer all of your questions out in the audience. And, of course, we have our special guest, as we do every Friday, Bob Lederer. Without further ado, let's get to it. Boy Green Daily starts now.
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Let's go!
Put your seatbelts on. Get ready for the ride. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcast. And I may be buried in snow with 2 feet of snow outside my door, but we're about to be buried in knowledge. And that is what we're going to do here with the comp picks, what the Jets are set to have. And quite frankly, the entire process fascinates me, and I hope it does for all you in the audience. We have a special guest joining us to talk all about it. I've heard many of you ask about this in the past, and now's a better time than any to get this in here for some juicy information. My special co-host on these Friday episodes are none other than, you see it above my left shoulder. He is the author of Beyond Broadway Joe, the Super Bowl team that changed football forever, and he's changed the podcast co-hosting game forever too. Let's bring him in. It is the one and only Bob Lederer. Bob?
And we are buried in cold in Chicago.
2 feet of snow?
No, we're going to get a little bit this weekend. I hear the nor'easter is on its way up your way, but it's just freezing cold here. It's below zero for like the I don't know, 5th or 6th straight day. It's warming up to like 15 or 20 during the day, but overnight it's disastrous.
Okay, well, that sounds absolutely awful, Bob. But what we'll try to do is spice up a few people's days here out in the audience, because, again, we have a very special guest that'll be joining us here on the show right now. His name is Nick Corte. He is an NFL contract expert. He is a contributor for Over the Cap, and he is a compensatory pick connoisseur. That's what he brings to the table. So without further ado, let's bring him on the show. Let's interrogate him with a bunch of questions and give him some warm pleasantries on the way in. Let's bring him in. Nick Corte. Nick, good morning.
Good morning, Paul. Good to be here.
Good morning, Nick.
Yes. This is you've been my Moby Dick. I've been hunting you across the waters for some time to make it work. Of course, we're in different time schedules and things of that nature. So I'm glad that we're finally getting an opportunity to do this. So, Nick, first off, for people who don't know, can you give an introduction for yourself to the audience, to the millions watching and listening wherever they are in the world, about your cap expertise and sort of how you got into all this?
Sure. Well, I've been an NFL fan my whole life, and I just started, being curious, trying to learn more about, how the finances and contracts of the NFL worked over time. I root for the Denver Broncos, so I mainly followed their contracts for a while and just always kept it in my mind. Then I discovered Over the Cap, which Jason Fitzgerald, fellow Jets fan of you, runs, and realized he was collecting a lot of great data that I felt I could put my web development skills to make even better. And so I've been working with Jason on that for, a little over 10 years now. And
wow, congratulations.
Yeah. And so I just run a lot of the technical stuff over there and, contribute as how I can. And another thing that I had kept in mind over the years before Over the Cap was following how the compensatory picks were run. There was a user by the name of Adam JT13 many years ago that, like, back in the aughts, he would project the picks. So I kind of learned some of the basics from him. And then when we got Over the Cap up and had all the contract data, I realized, we could use that to take compensatory pick projection to the next level and essentially track it in real time as contracts were signed and what have you. And so been doing that since I think 2015 was the first one I projected. So this, if I'm correct on that, this would be my 11th season projecting it. So,
okay.
And that's just what go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt, but with that process, because that's what I think a lot of people are curious about. Comp pick seems like this, complicated thing that we all sort of see in the room, but we kind of ignore because we don't understand it. So in its simplest form, because people are like, oh, so, okay, we sign free agents, but we lose free agents. And there's some formula that beep, boop, pop, boom, spits out comp pick things. What is that process in its most simple terms? How does that process work that teams are awarded draft picks on a year-to-year basis based on that very rudimentary explanation that, free agents you sign versus free agents you lose?
Sure. Well, going back all the way to the 1993 CBA when free agency was introduced, there was real concerns about, teams losing players, that they wouldn't, otherwise lose. And they wanted some sort of compensatory system to account for that. So they took what would have been an 8th round and distributed it among rounds 3 through 7 for, true unrestricted free agents who have their contracts expired, not terminated, to no worries. So when those true unrestricted free agents leave, if a team signs more than it loses, it will never receive compensatory picks. It has to be a net loss. It's a 1-to-1 relationship. So even if you have one guy that signed that left for a 3rd round contract elsewhere, and the team signs a 7th rounder, then they get nothing for the most part.
Right, that makes sense. Mm-hmm.
So you start off with, how many compensatory free agents are lost versus signed. Then you have to assign a round value to it, and the cancellations work starting with equal round, then lower round, and then if there's no choice, upper round, which we can see a little bit this when we look at some of the Jets cancellation charts here. That's probably the big, the simplest way to put it.
May I ask a question?
You absolutely can. You absolutely can. I just want to shout out to the audience that Nick did wonderful work, and we will be showing in a few minutes the graphs from Over the Cap and explaining the picks that the Jets have. So absolutely, Bob, please. Yes.
I would think this would make a lot of sense if you had it all computerized. In other words, the league had it computerized based on what you just described in intricate detail with all kinds of algorithms and everything else. But that would require the players to agree to that kind of a system. Am I right?
That's correct. That was part of the negotiation of the 93 CBA, since, free agency was a big win for the players there. So there were trade-offs elsewhere. Probably the biggest.
Higher than a 3rd round compensatory extra draft pick.
3rd round is the highest, yes.
So if I'm the Indianapolis Colts 20 years ago, and I lose Peyton Manning after his 3rd year or after his 5th year and his contract runs out, the best I'm going to get is a number 3.
Yep, that's correct.
That probably would change the whole dimensions of what this is all about.
And who decided that, Nick? So, all right, 3rd round. Well, we don't want it to be any higher than 3rd round. No 1st rounds, no 2nd rounds. 3rd round's the best. Who decided that? How did that come to be?
I don't really have any clue. It was probably, just one piece of the puzzle to all the negotiations that, the league and the PA were doing at the time. There's so many big fish to fry out there when they're having those negotiations. So sometimes these smaller things don't have an obvious answer.
I want to go back to that user you mentioned. His name is, I have it right here. It is Adam JT13. This user that seemed to be doing something that picked up things. So before Adam, did anyone have any idea how the comp pick system worked? And thus, like, did seeing his work unlock some sort of an equation that you guys were able to magnify with today's advancements of technologies and your massive brain that you keep between those 2 ears of yours, Nick Corte?
I'm not familiar of anyone from the outside who projected it before Adam did. I'm also not familiar when teams themselves started to look at projections. It is a complicated formula. My understanding is that teams were made aware of it internally, but there were only a few that really jumped out to it at the time. I think the Baltimore Ravens and Green Bay Packers were, I think, the first two who really started emphasizing that. And I think once I started put in a little more profile to it on OTC, that got some other teams' attentions. And I think the emphasis on comp picks probably ramped up, around maybe, 8 to 10 years ago or so.
What makes it so complex?
Well, there's just a lot of moving parts to it. There's a lot of logic that goes into, understanding who gets canceled out and when, who qualifies as a compensatory agent and who doesn't. So, I think some teams just didn't care that much about it. Some just wanted to prioritize signing free agents and didn't really see that as something that would be in their interest. Some other teams may have not had the wherewithal on that. So, I can't answer for any single team.
Do teams take it more seriously now than they have in the past?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Nick, a follow-up here on this process. Does the NFL, well, it seems like it, so correct me if I'm wrong, the NFL has not made this a very transparent process where they say, hey, if you guys do this, it equates to this, and bing, boom, bam, you just lay it out there, even if it's more complicated than I explained. The NFL does not attempt to make this transparent. Yes, and if so, why don't they?
Well, even the basic rules of the compensatory formula were not made public until the 2020 CBA. Now there's a whole appendix on that. So that was helpful. Adam was able to deduce some, but not all of the rules just through trial and error and reverse engineering. And I was able to add a little bit to that. I had a couple sources over the years kind of iron out some of the details that were unknown here. This year, I hope I finally got the final big piece that's been confounding me in trying to, get this as accurate as possible. But there's always seems to be some new situation that comes up that, provides a good challenge for me to try to, get this as right as possible.
And it's a system or a process that is kind of moving during the course of the season. So if you lose a player, but that player maybe gets injured in the first game of their new team schedule, the value of that guy to you as a compensatory pick later is not as valuable. Is that the case?
That can be the case at times. There is a snap count portion to the formula, and usually it just moves the player down in order a few spots. Most of the time that's not consequential, but sometimes it can be. And especially this year, I think, because the cutoff is usually around, this year seems to be around $3 million a year. And that was a very popular amount that a lot of teams sign players for. So this year it might be consequential for several teams as to whether how much a player played might be the difference as to whether they qualify or not, or whether it cancels a different round or not.
And how much they got paid as a free agent is also part of this, right?
Yeah, that's the primary part by far.
All right, let's get to a super chat question. And folks, I'm glad that it's revving your guys' engine enough that you want to send in super chat questions. That's terrific. So if you have any more of them, continue to send them in, and that's how we'll answer them. And I love this super chat from Kyle Clifton. Every time I get a super chat, we hear from my daughter, Zariah Luna.
Wow.
Wow, indeed, Zariah Luna. All right, Kyle, thank you for the $10 super chat. did interest ramp up in comp picks around the time they were allowed to trade picks? Because this is an important notation, Nick, because comp picks didn't always used to be allowed to be traded. That was another part of this equation, but now they have been allowed. Can you talk about this?
Yeah, that was a rule that was introduced in, I believe, the 2017 draft. I don't know why they were not made tradable to begin with. I would say it's certainly a factor. I don't know if it would be the dominating factor in that. I mean, I think I like GMs that like to trade. I feel like that gives more creativity as to how they're able to improve their team. So I think it's a good change. I think just having the draft picks themselves, I think, is the most valuable thing, above whether or not they get traded.
Yeah, but like, maybe we're just going to both be asking the same questions to the universe outside of our house on our front lawn, going, "Damn you!" But like these picks, like the fact that they couldn't be traded, like that just made it more complicated. As I was, for this is a Jets show, as I'm looking at a Jets draft board, I'm like, sweet, we got 10 picks. Well, of course we can't trade these three. These three are a separate bucket on the greater pool. Like that just sounds incredibly confusing. And why wouldn't you want to encourage trades? Like comp picks are just like any other picks. We don't have to segregate them and put them in a separate category.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
So is there? Do you have any what I'm trying to understand is Peter Baelish, Game of Thrones. Understand the motives of your enemy, and maybe that can help influence the thing. I don't know the pros and cons. I don't know the con of not being able to trade the picks. Is I guess what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't get it either. I think one rule that the league did implement after allowing them to be traded is that they did not allow them, after about a year or two later, to be used as conditionals in a trade. Like some teams would say, we'll give you a 5 if we get a compensatory 5th like we plan. Otherwise, we'll give you a regular 4th.
I see. I see what you're saying. Yes. And also one more on this. I don't know if this falls in your same category, Nick, so feel free to call me an idiot if it doesn't. But there is another recent rule change where and I'm going to butcher this because I don't have the rules in front of me, but if a minority from one team leaves from one team to another in a prominent position, I believe it's head coach or general manager or whatever the top level executive in unique cases, like the team that lost said person gets 2 future 3rd round comp picks over the next 2 years. So is that also factored into those are the same comp picks as other comp picks, sort of in the same category or vicinity, or no?
No, they're considered special compensatory picks that don't operate within the main compensatory formula as a whole. That was a different resolution that was passed in 2020, and what decides who qualifies for those picks and doesn't really is beyond my scope. It's just basically whatever the NFL Management Council declares. When Ian Cunningham just got hired last night, Bears fans were really curious about, is this going to be 2/3 for us? And it looks like from reports that the answer is no, but that's something that I just have to rely on, good reporting to deliver the answer to me.
And what's your opinion? And real quick, what's your opinion to that, Nick? So Bears fans are pissed. Like, what we lost our key guy and he goes to Atlanta, and Atlanta just so happens to have a director of Dr. Football Operations. So technically, sorry, it doesn't count, even though he's sort of serving in that kind of role. So what's your, if you care, Doctor, to share an opinion on said matters, or do you just leave it black and white and leave others to interpret?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what goal the league wants to have with that. I think if I were going to do like a compensatory situation for that, I think I would probably take it down to 1 3rd round pick for whoever, as a head coach or general manager, but then maybe add like a 5th rounder or something for coordinator hires, since those are kind of like, the farm system on who might become future head coaches, but that's just my opinion. I don't know what goal the league wants to accomplish there, and that's kind of their business.
So there are a lot of picks you can lose or be compensated for if you lose key personnel. in management personnel, but you can also get extra picks for minority hirings. I think that's the case as well.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into this, Nick. We've delayed the poor people long enough. They want to know what picks the Jets are going to get. So thank you again. I want to thank you. I thank you privately, but I want to thank you publicly for putting this together. I think this is going to be a huge teach tape, as the kids say, as we're talking about players. I think this is teach tape for all of us to try to understand this better. So let's start off. You know, I don't know how you normally operate in your life, Nick, when someone comes to you and say, Nick, I've got good news and bad news. I'm not sure which one you prefer first, but let's go with the worst case scenario here for the Jets. If all hell breaks loose and every oblong shaped football bounces the opposite way, that's happened to me before as a Jets fan. If that occurs, Nick, what is the Jets comp pick situation from your understanding?
So this year, I decided to go through a range of what I think are feasible outcomes as to how the compensatory free agents are judged against what's called the league-wide number of players, both CFAs and non-CFAs, and that's how they kind of rank the players to determine what round, if any, they'll qualify as compensatory free agents. And in this worst-case scenario, I think the worst that the Jets could probably see is just 1 5th-round pick for Hassan Reddick leaving town. And the way that this got to be the worst-case scenario, there could have been one where if you took Ashton Davis out of the formula there, that the Jets wouldn't get anything. But good old division rival in the Miami Dolphins decided to both sign him to a deal and ended up playing him a lot to where he earned an incentive that should get him to not only qualify in the Jets' favor, but could contribute to them losing a 4th-round pick for Javon Holland going to the partner in
Giants.
the Meadowlands and the Giants. Yeah.
All right. Screw the Dolphins. I like that. Hassan Reddick, that's another guy I walk outside my house and scream at the sky about, but that's probably for a different podcast entirely here. So, okay, so no matter what, it looks like the Jets are at least going to pick up an additional 5th-round pick, and this is, of course, for the upcoming 2026 NFL Draft, based on the losses and calculations from the previous offseason, correct?
Yeah, never say never, but I would be really surprised if the Jets didn't get this pick.
Okay. So what this seems to show is that you after you lose 5 players, it doesn't matter who the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, or 12th player that you lose happens to be. You're not going to get a compensation for it.
Yep, 5 minus 4 is 1 right there, and you can see some of the round differences. The formula has no choice but to cancel out different rounds. You see Cisco a 6, canceling out Moses a 5th in this example. Fields and Kinlaw are also uneven.
Here's another one, for instance, and maybe you can explain this to me, because, I'm going to be honest, and I'm sure you guys appreciate the clicks on Over the Cap. I obsess over this thing. So one day I'll look and I'm like, ooh, Hassan Reddick's going to give me a 4th based on the graphs here that are from Over the Cap. And I'm like, oh, all right, let me go to bed. Hakshu, hakshu, hakshu. I wake up and a couple days later I look and I'm like, what the? It's a 5th? What happened? So how does it you talked about sort of this live evolution that one day could be this, one day could be this. What changes where at one point, somewhere over the last couple of months, Hassan Reddick was on this board as a 4th, and then now he's a 5th. What changed there?
Well, specifically with Reddick, he was already a 5th, but if you look at the 2 players above him, they were both more on the bubble as to whether being valued in the 4th or 5th round. DJ Reed in particular has been going back and forth on those. He had some injuries in Detroit this season that might have implications on the Lions' own comp picks as well. But I think the 4th round situation would have come if both Reed and Kinlaw had been above that 4th, 5th round cutoff. And they still might be, but I think that's very unlikely at this point. Had that happened, Fields would have canceled out one of those 4s, but then the other one would still be up there, and Stevens would be, canceling out a 5 like he is right now.
I guess what's confusing to me is Morgan Moses. He started at right tackle for the Patriots the entire year, and they had one of the best offensive lines in the league, and he's going to the Super Bowl, and he's only worth a seventh?
No, fifth.
Fifth.
Fifth,
Okay.
fifth. Yeah, fifth. So explain, we went from graphic 1 to graphic 2 here.
Okay,
So
I'm
again, no, that's okay, Bob. So, and we'll show several graphics here on the screen. So Nick, I could be satisfied with a 5. You say, you know what, Paul? You're going to get a 5 under your Christmas tree. And I'm like, that's nice. But I am a very greedy bastard, Nick Corte. I want more than just a 5. So explain to me graphic number 2, where Morgan Moses, who Bob Lederer just talked about, unfortunately initiate gag reflex for both of us, beat the Broncos to get to the freaking Super Bowl. And Morgan Moses is starting at right tackle. He's one of several former Jets that's on the Patriots, which disgusts me greatly. But how do the Jets get a potential second, 5th round pick for Morgan Moses? How does that happen?
So you see in this graphic that now Brandon Eccles is considered a compensatory free agent that qualifies. So that ups the number of CFAs lost to 6, still 4 on the gain side. So now that because Eccles is in there, Cisco would now cancel out that lower pick instead of the higher one. And that's where the 5 for Moses shows up.
And how likely do you believe this scenario is, Nick Corte?
I think for the most likely scenario that there will be these 2 5th-round picks right here. We'll talk a little bit more about some other possible ones here, but I think even in those that we'll talk about, I think 2 5s is what my final projection for the Jets will be. We'll see if that turns out to be true or not.
And these picks, if this were to happen, these would come after everybody else has picked in the 5th round, and then these would be adjusted according to the Jets draft position. So the 33rd pick in the 5th round, the 34th pick in the 5th round. Is that how it works?
Almost. It is after all the regular 5th-round picks, but there will be other teams that will also be getting 5th-round picks. And within a round, those comp picks are just awarded in the order that they're valued in the compensatory formula. Looking at what I have projected right now, it looks like it would be the 5th and 8th in order. It would go Jets, Chiefs, Cowboys, Jets, in that section right there. So you're looking, about after the regular picks, about 5th and 8th, but the order can change a little bit.
Okay. All right. Let's go to another better case scenario here. Yes, I'm seeing, I've just hit the lottery. I'm seeing more green. Green is good. All right. So Hassan Reddick, Morgan Moses, that's good. And then our boy Solomon Thomas down there with the Dallas Cowboys. All right. Explain this situation for us, Nick Corte.
All right. So you now see that Solomon Thomas has moved up in there as a qualifying compensatory free agent, that just being right on the bubble would just be a 7th-round pick. I thought his value might have been a little higher, but as you are well aware of, the Cowboys traded for Quinnen Williams, and that cut into Thomas's snap counts. So that's why he's kind of on the bubble here. Now, what I would caution about any additional 7th-round pick to the 2 5ths we already talked about is there is a 32 pick limit to how many regular compensatory picks are awarded. And the projection you see here, this is the one that I considered most likely and that I finalized about a week or 2 ago. And as you can see here, that pick for Solomon Thomas just barely misses the cuts.
No, that's unfortunate. And can you explain that 32 pick limit? Like, what is that? And is that a year-to-year thing? How does that work?
So 32 is obviously the number of teams that are in the NFL. And I mean, again, this is like the 8th round of picks, but it's distributed in between rounds 3 or 7. So the league just wanted like a very, consistent, regular schedule with this. And so the league will usually acknowledge any teams that qualified for picks over the 32 pick limit, but they are not awarded unless there is some sort of negotiation with the NFLPA in that regard.
Now, that sounds like a very rare circumstance in that
Nick,
case.
can you read off the top names? Because my very old eyes are having trouble seeing it. And I see Sam Darnold is the first compensatory pick, but who are like the next, 5 or 10, just so we were aware of that.
Milton Williams going to the Patriots, probably unfortunately for the Jets. He's had a pretty good season there. Dan Moore went to the Titans. Usually left tackles get paid really well. So those are the 3/3 we're looking at here. Then, all these players up on top here, got paid quite a lot per year. APY is the dominating factor. I do find Justin Fields quite notable in that I think there was probably some hope among Steelers fans that he would play the whole season, which might have gotten them a 3rd-round pick, but I think that's probably unlikely.
Okay. Fair enough. Let's get one more peek at the graph situation here. And this is those other 7s. You've cautioned us, Nick Corte. You've warned us about us like peeking ahead here, talking to Christmas future and trying to strike a deal here. Tyler Conklin, who you mentioned that very interesting cutoff line, right, of 3 million, a very popular number if you look at a lot of the contracts that just occurred this past offseason. And he just took forever to sign anywhere and ends up going to the Chargers for perhaps less money than a lot of people would have thought. So he, in this particular very optimistic projection from a Jets perspective, would be another 7 that potentially could count.
It would be an eligible 7th, but I think that one is almost certain to miss the 32 pick limit in any scenario that I can see right there. I thought Conklin, I think the plan was for Conklin to play a lot more there, but, unfortunately they drafted Oronde Gadsden the 2nd, and he just kind of took off for them as a tight end there. So that really cut into Conklin snaps.
Yes, Syracuse legend around here, Rondé Gadsden, and his father, that rich NFL bloodlines that he has with him.
Nick,
so we showed a lot of
idea,
yeah,
Nick,
go ahead.
Do you have any idea how many people in the NFL are working in the catacombs in New York to put all this stuff together?
I've never been certain how much manpower the NFL Management Council puts into this. I have noticed, over the years that they sometimes make mistakes. Usually seems like one about every 3 or 4 drafts or so. And there's been times where I've looked at, the results and like, this doesn't make sense. And so I'm trying to make sense of it. And then like a day or 2 later, they said, "Oh, whoops, there's a miscalculation." So
if I were the
and then they correct it, correct, Nick? So if they're like, "Oh wow, there's a discrepancy here," they announce, "Hey, here's all the comp picks for everyone." I'll ask you about that in a second.
Yeah.
And then, "Oh, just kidding, we fucked that up. Sorry, Bengals, you don't get this 4th. You have a this, or this team you get a this." They correct that in real time once they realize a mistake. Correct?
Most of the time, I think. There's always a mystery that I'm not sure how a pick got, valued in a certain way. And sometimes I just have to leave a note in that to figure out either what I got wrong or maybe they got something wrong. Who knows?
Sounds like the Players Association needs to demand that this be all computerized. Take this out of hands. Take this out of people.
I would presume that the management council has computerized this. I don't think there's a lot of transparency as to how they're doing that, and that maybe that's for competitive balance reasons. I can't say for sure. But yeah,
I'd make the argument for competitive balance reasons. It should be transparent, completely transparent.
Well, I think now, Nick, you start pushing back here. My assumption would be if they just say beep boop bop, here's the formula, everybody. Here's how you get comp picks. Now every team in the league's like, oh, interesting. Now how can we skirt the rules to get like in negotiations with the player? If the cutoff line is this number and the contract numbers of your guys you're losing, in theory, if you knew how the game was played, you could use that to your advantage, I would think, to maximize your comp pick return. And with a 32 pick limit, like there's a lot of ways you could twist that knife. I would assume that would be the competitive balance on the other side of that information being available.
And teams have already tried to do that, just trying to learn about what was going on. There used to be a rule that was discarded in the 2020 CBA where a player would not count as a compensatory free agent if he wasn't on the team for at least 10 weeks. And so you had some situations where multiple teams were seeing, some player got cut. Now we're losing a comp pick, so we got to cut our player, to make sure we get that pick back. And I think the league probably saw how that could be abused and took that out of the formula.
Okay, a couple of other of these comp pick questions here. So players that are cut don't so we're getting into the free agency time. So Justin Fields is a beautiful example, has jumped into my head. There's a lot of whispers that he's going to get released. If he got released by the Jets and immediately signs a $1 deal with your Denver Broncos for some made-up reason, like the Jets would not get a comp pick because they cut said player, correct?
Correct. And there have been teams who are, like the Ravens are really good at this, just off the top of my head, who will focus on players that were cut other than.
Oh, for acquisition, the reverse side of it, signing said players who were cut, because that doesn't affect the system, correct?
Yeah. And you mentioned the Broncos. I know they targeted Evan Engram, a tight end, because he was cut by Jacksonville, and that didn't count against them.
And also there's Nick, there's a deadline, right? So if people wait it out all the way to random date, if they sign even players that are natural free agents after this date, that also won't count towards the comp pick formula, correct?
Correct. The deadline is under almost all circumstances, it's the first Monday after the draft. There's a little funky rule with a UFA tender that can extend that a little bit. That might apply to J.K. Dobbins. That could impact both the Broncos and Chargers this year, but it's a pretty rare occasion.
What's the date that we find out the pick? So that's, I'm sure, what a lot of people want to know in the audience. When are we going to know? Because obviously it has to come before the draft. So what date do we know? Is that the same every year? Or is it just random based on when the NFL announced it? Okay, here's the list of comp picks, everybody, and here's how they're all being doled out. When is that date normally?
They have never shown any real consistency with this. Sometimes it's been as early as like right before the combine, so that teams and agents can start talking about what draft picks they might have. That now that comp picks are tradable, they might want to talk about trading those picks. In recent years, it's usually been a few days before the start of free agency. So I would expect something around, the first 10 days or so of March, one of those there. They really do want to get it out before free agency, again, for purposes of, possible trades.
And is there a limit to how many compensatory picks any team can get?
Yes, there's a maximum of 4 per year per draft. If they're eligible for anything beyond that, the lowest of those picks are just disregarded.
And let's say, for argument's sake, that a team got 4 third-round compensatory draft picks. It's unlikely. Is there anything that would deter that from happening?
Nothing against the rules. It's just, like you said, that would be highly unlikely that one team would be losing, high-quality free agents of that number, let alone 4 of them.
And not signing a prerequisite amount that would have canceled said losses if that were to occur.
Keep your eye on the Jets.
Well, we'll see. Let me just, Nick, I don't know if this is studies or time you've wasted in your life on this, but for the Jets, a big part of like my fascination is why have we sucked so fucking bad at this comp pick thing? Excuse my Guatemalan here. How have we sucked so bad? Like every year comp picks get announced. I'm like, I feel like I'm the girl who didn't get invited to the dance. I'm like, what the? Like the Jets are seemingly never involved in a comp pick, but there's been a recent alteration where we're seeing it a little bit. Not it's not like they're leading the pack or anything, but we've seen it. Is that just, in your opinion, the Jets and their previous regime saying, screw comp picks, those are for losers? Like what other reason would they have just been very openly not being involved in this? It's just, I don't want to speculate. I'll leave it to you. Well, why do you believe that's the case?
Well, the Jets have had a lot of regimes over the years, so there may be different reasons for that, that each regime has had, sometimes they may have just not had the attractive free agents to make it worth their while. Sometimes they just need to get veteran talent in right now to improve a team, and they're just trading off comp picks for that. I can't speak to what Darren Muji might be thinking in this regard, but so far so good on who he lost and who he signed on what comes out here. But it varies from year to year. I mean, some years you just look at your pending free agents. Maybe you've extended the ones you want to keep, and it's just like, well, there's no point in chasing for like a stray seventh 2 years down the road when we can get some talent in to help out the team now. So I think with the Jets' lack of comp picks, I mean, some years they just might have not cared. Other years they may have prioritized things more. It varies, but there are certainly trends on certain teams prioritizing it over others.
But impossible to diagnose, like a doctor saying, oh, clearly this was the main thing that caused this. You're right. With all the different regimes, it could have been a variety of reasons, but all the reasons result in the same thing. Screw the Jets with the comp picks, but not this year, baby. This year's different. So, Nick, we've talked about a lot of different scenarios here, so let's bring it back full circle before we end this conversation. And your official, because we have a lot of graphics in front of me here, your official prediction for the New York Jets is they end up with how many and what comp picks, Nick?
I think it's likely that they will get 2 fifth-round comp picks, and there's an outside chance that they might get awarded a 7th rounder. And if it is a 7th rounder, they get added to that. Very likely it could be that valued Mr. Irrelevant pick, the last one in the draft.
Oh, yes. Okay, that'd be fun. We had that a couple of years ago. It didn't work out for us like it did for the 49ers, but,
Who was it?
It was, oh, my God, the Alabama safety.
Linebacker.
Oh, no, I'm pretty sure he was a safety. Oh,
Safety?
my God. Let me see. I have to look this up now. You can't say Mr. Irrelevant.
I'm ashamed of you. You don't remember that, Paul? Come on.
Yeah, I know. He's from Alabama. I could see his face because every year they do the Mr. Irrelevant, they bring him to town. Jalen Key. I knew it was a safety. I knew it. 2024.
By the way, Nick, congratulations on the Broncos. They had a hell of a season.
Oh, thank you. Shame they couldn't get it done against the Patriots. I think we all would have
couldn't keep your quarterback healthy for a full season.
That's still a mysterious one, how that he just went out for the season so quickly. So
and they found out after the game that he had an injury that was basically waiting to happen.
Yeah, there's been some conflicting tales from both Peyton and Nix and other reporters on exactly what happened to him. I think I'm looking at the good news. I think even in worst case scenarios I can think of, he's still going to be ready for training camp. So I'm not too worried there.
Yes. So I would have loved for you guys to beat the Patriots. As Jet fans over here, I was the biggest Denver Broncos fan of my life, and unfortunately, you guys failed me.
Hey, Nick, did you have any feelings about Muji before he came to the Jets?
I heard he was very highly regarded in the Denver front office. I was very happy when he got that job. I'm rooting for him pretty well to turn things around for the Jets. This is only his second season. So I think, given the job he has ahead, I think it was going to take a while to, get the Jets to where they want to go, especially after trading, Sauce and Quinn. And now you've got a whole bunch of draft capital to really put to use, and I'm excited to see what he'll do with that.
And Paul, who's the defensive end that we lost to the Broncos 2 years ago?
Yeah,
John Franklin Myers.
Oh yeah. Oh, look at that smile on Nick's face. That's wonderful.
What do you think, Nick? What do you think are his chances
a free agent
of cutting loose and coming back? Well, forget about coming back east, but cutting loose.
Yeah, his contract actually expires this season, and the Broncos have actually extended other defensive linemen other than JFM. If I had to guess why, I think it's probably that they're younger. I would expect JFM to leave the Broncos this season. I don't know if Muji would consider a reunion with the Jets or not, but I think I doubt the Broncos are going to be in the comp pick game because they've extended most of their key free agents. But if they were to get a sizable one, I would look at JFM as the most likely.
And here's another random one on these Broncos. So this is all rumor land, so what's true and what's not. But target the Jets had in free agency was Hufanga at safety. And but the Denver Broncos came in like a knight in shining armor and stole him. And oh my goodness, Hufanga looks spectacular this season. So thanks for that one, Nick. I really appreciate that. Yeah,
wow. Very happy with Hufanga in Denver.
By the way, any other Broncos free? So I knew about JFM. I knew that he was set to be a free agent, so potential reunion here. So before we sign off with Nick, any other Broncos free agents that are tantalizing or hitting the market that old Mooj can raid the coffers?
I'd be curious as to whether or not they extend Alex Singleton. He's been their lead linebacker for a while, but they did sign Dre Greenlaw, another former 49er, to a decent deal. So I would maybe look to see if they decide to move on from him or not. I don't know what the Jets needs at linebackers. Is Quincy Williams still there?
He is a free agent this offseason.
Okay, so who knows? Maybe that's
he's with us for about another 35 or 40 days. And
yeah, right. Yeah. There you go. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. J.K. Dobbins is someone else to watch out for as well.
Okay.
Yeah, he was looking really good this season until he had that Liz Frank injury. He was only going to play in the Super Bowl if he made it. I'd be really curious as to what kind of contract he gets out there. I could see the Broncos re-signing him. I could see him leaving to go for something else. I know Breece Hall is a free agent, so Jets could have some needs at running back. I would presume you got Braylon Allen, I guess.
I guess is probably the best way to describe this next two words.
If you don't have Costello, you don't have Abbott and Costello. So
yeah, there you go. That's an excellent point. Before we get you out of here, Nick, we have a super chat here. I don't know if you have this information in front of you, but
wow.
What is the current total pick count for the New York Jets, and what are the numbers of their order? We don't know the comp picks yet, Easy, so I can answer the back end of that. That information is not available. But Nick, what is the current total pick count for the New York Jets with your projections?
All right, I have got second overall pick, the 16th overall from Indy. 33, the first in the second round, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And pick
44.
That's Dallas, right?
Correct. Yep.
Correct. Yep. Okay. They traded their own third round pick. It looks like
for Hassan Reddick. Thank you for bringing that back up, Nick.
There we go.
Sorry, but thank you for that.
That's Arizona there. They have their original 4.
Yep.
I'm projecting those 2 5th-round comp picks. Their original 5th went to Cleveland.
Yes.
Yes. I can't remember if it was Cleveland, but they did trade that one.
It was for the defensive tackle.
Okay.
No, that wasn't Juwan Briggs. No. Oh, that was the trade.
Oh, no, Juwan Briggs.
The Tyler Barron trade last year in the draft. They switched to 6 and a 5 for 6 and a 5 the following year.
And that worked out well for us.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up again as well. I appreciate that, Bob. All right, great.
And so I should have gotten the numbers here.
No, that's okay.
The original 4th is 103.
Okay.
The comp picks would be 175 and 178.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like they got the Bills' 6th-round pick.
A couple years ago. Brandon Codrington trade. Yes.
Yep. They don't have their own 6th, and they don't have their own 7th either. I think that was that the Jarvis Brownlee trade to Tennessee?
Yes, there was a pick swap there. Yep.
And they have 2 7ths from 2 other teams at. I've got it at 238 and 242.
Okay.
I think they got the Chargers 7th, but not directly from the Chargers.
Right.
And,
yes.
And the other 7th is also the Bills' 7th. I don't know if that was directly from the Bills, though. I don't think that was Codrington. I think that was someone else.
Yeah, I think that was someone else as well.
So
that leaves us with
go ahead.
10
picks total.
Okay, 10 picks total is the projection with those 2 fifth-round comp projections, correct?
Correct. And maybe 11 for Mr. Irrelevant.
10
We'll see.
picks. Okay, 10 picks, maybe 11. Good question, easy. Appreciate that. So I wrote some of that down. We'll catch back up on that later and put that in a graphic. But again, we should probably just wait for the comp picks to be official before we start spitting out draft order and things of that nature. But yes, go ahead, Nick.
And soon after they announce the compensatory picks, they usually announce the full draft order as well.
Perfect. So easy. Thank you for being a member for 18 months. We appreciate that. And also, thank you, Nick. Again, I have been hunting you down forever because this is just a fascinating topic to me. Thank you to Kyle Clifton for the super chat. That was another one of my questions that I wanted to ask that I had forgotten. So that was terrific. Super insightful, super informational. Really appreciate it, Nick. And again, I just respect the heck out of what you do. There's only so many people on the planet that knows how to do this and does it with the accuracy level that you have. So, Nick, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us on the show this morning.
Hey, thank you so much.
Great stuff, Nick.
All right, beautiful.
Thank you.
Nick, you have a great day, pal.
You too. Thank you
Good
so
weekend
much.
to you.
All right, there he is, Nick Corte, contributor of Over the Cap, an NFL contract expert. Again, this is something, Bob, that I've been trying to hunt down for a while because I don't understand it enough, quite frankly. And it's a good year to get him because we actually
I don't think we still understand it.
No, I don't. But it's good to actually have him in a year where the Jets are going to get some sizable stuff, at least 1/5 and maybe 2. That's for Jet fans anyway. That's sizable. So very fascinating.
Again, we've talked about scouting. Boy, they desperately need some great scouting.
There's no question about it. So we're going to at least get 1 5. We could get 2 5s. And then there is an outside possibility, of course, about the Jets getting another 7. So, hey, the Jets need as many picks and as much help as they possibly can. So that's absolutely terrific. All right, Bob, whoo. That was a lot there. Now, the other thing I was potentially worried about is when you schedule a show like this, because I reached out to Nick, and he's in a different time zone. So he's earlier, just like you, Bob. Then I was like, man, hey, Nick, when do you have availability? And he said, I have it on a future Friday. And my only concern was breaking news. What happens if we get breaking news this morning and then we're completely ignoring it for this very interesting topic to me, but the fans are going to be yelling in the audience. So I just prayed. And then the word I got seemingly said that the offensive coordinator hire was going to come late last night or this morning. And I'm like, oh, no, please don't. Like, I want that information, but not now. Please wait. So thankfully.
So I'm breathless since I got up so early. So have we missed something?
From my text, I normally get a few texts when news happens. I have not received those texts yet. So blessed be he. We've landed. The plane took off, and the plane has since landed.
Hey, do we owe the Cowboys anything if we get our defensive coordinator and our offensive coordinator from their staff?
No. So it's only the only pick. And let me address that because that's
I have tongue in cheek on that, but
yeah, I know. But I think it's important to note that, like, for instance, So San Francisco is about to get comp picks again because Saleh left from San Francisco to Tennessee to be their head coach. So they're set to get more comp picks. But the comp picks that San Francisco receives doesn't come from the Tennessee Titans pool. It comes from an overall NFL pool of picks that hangs above the universe in a special way. So it's not like the Titans have to give up these picks to hire Saleh or any minority for that matter. So that is from the NFL that these picks are set to be released. But no OC hire yet, but I fully expect that to be Frank Reich based on all the information that we have.
So there were no new real rumors by the end of the day yesterday that it was.
No, the rumors are the rumors. Those 5 candidates that the Jets interviewed, which I have the graphic still here, I believe, so I can throw these up here real quick because we're talking about them. They are, let's get our 5 eligible bachelors. I've got that photo right. Here it is. Okay, let me throw this up. Sorry, folks. I'm a monkey operating a spotlight over here. All right, here are the 5 that the Jets have interviewed virtually for their offensive coordinator position. In no particular order, that is Darrell Bevell, that is Ronald Curry, that is Frank Reich, that is Greg Roman, that is London Wells. I would assume to our audience, the 2 lesser names on this list that the casual fan may not know is Ronald Curry. He is the quarterback's coach of the Buffalo Bills. He just interviewed for the Broncos. Speaking of the Broncos, we just had Nick Corte on, who's a Broncos fan. he just interviewed for their now vacant OC position. So he's interviewed for the Jets and Broncos OC position. And then Lunda Wells is someone that I imagine a lot of fans don't know. He is the Dallas Cowboys tight ends coach. He's been there for the last 6 years, and he interviewed as well. The three bigger names a lot of football fans should know. Darrell Bevell won a Super Bowl as an offensive coordinator of the Seattle Seahawks. Frank Reich won a Super Bowl as the offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles. And Greg Roman has been in the NFL for 28 of his 31 years in coaching. And over half of that 28 years was spent with a Harbaugh, whether John or Jim. He has been with both during those 15 years. So three of the names on this list are super experienced. So, while all the wins point in the direction of Frank Reich being the guy, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys join the Jet staff under Frank Reich. That would certainly make a lot of sense. Do any of these names stand out to you, Bob?
I heard yesterday on one of the other podcasts that Lunda Wells is considered a rising star in Dallas. That they think he's head coach material.
I've heard that.
Yeah. So
although apparently he's quote unquote not a serious candidate for this job, according to Zach Rosenblatt, that this would be unfortunately a Rooney Rule interview, which is sad when that comes out, but unfortunately the harsh reality of the national.
But the Jets could hire him at a higher position than tight ends coach, and maybe Frank Reich would be willing just to be the signal caller. Who knows? But.
Correct, right. So the three key positions of note are quarterbacks coach that are vacant for the Jets on offense, quarterbacks coach, passing game coordinator, and offensive coordinator. I don't believe if Lunda Wells suddenly became a quarterbacks coach for the Jets, I think that is still lateral. So I don't think he could go from position to position.
And I don't think you want him for that role either, but I think
definitely not.
I think
well, that's a concern with Ronald Curry on your screen. Like, he's the quarterback's coach with the Bills, but if I don't know if you remember him from his playing days here, Bob, but he was an NFL wide receiver for like 8 years, and he coached wide receivers forever. And then just randomly a couple years ago, he said, "You know what? I'm a quarterback's coach." So it's very Charles London-ish, and now he's quarterback coaching the Bills. Now you would say, "Ooh, Josh Allen, that's great," but I mean, Josh Allen was sort of already Josh Allen by the time Ronald Curry got there.
No, I wouldn't. You're putting words in my mouth. No, I wouldn't say that about Ron Curry.
Yeah, see, so like I just, I'd probably, with all due respect, no, thank you on that. I don't want another Charles London situation, but hey, I'd be happy with at least 3 of the 5 names on this list because Bevell's experience, Reich's experience, and Roman's experience. Lunda Wells less so, but he seems intriguing from what everyone's saying out there in the audience about him. But here's the thing we have to note here, Bob, about this offensive coordinator search is that we did this a couple weeks ago for the defensive coordinator job. Instead of 5 names on the list, there was 8 names. And we were told, whoa, the leading favorite is Wink Martindale, and he didn't end up being the guy. Whoa, Frank Reich is the leading actor. I guess until the ink is dry, I don't think we should start popping any bubbly for any of these guys until it's official, because the Jets on their DC search seem to be heading in one direction, then skirt, and then all of a sudden it was somebody else. That could definitely happen here as well.
The other thing to really think about with each of these guys, and let's particularly focus on Bevell and on Greg Roman and on Reich, but Greg Roman just got fired in L.A. It wasn't San Diego.
Yeah, by Harbaugh.
By Jim Harbaugh. And that's not exactly a gold star, that you bring home to your parents.
Definitely not.
With the kind of talent that the Chargers have. The other thing is, and I think this is most critical, think about who they pick, let's say from between Bevell and Roman and Reich as the most experienced.
Definitely.
They're going to have a huge say in which quarterback they bring in, as well as whether they draft somebody or if they draft somebody.
Sure.
But the experienced quarterback that they're going to bring in with AG and with Muji, these guys are going to have a lot to say based on their experience with them. So the first thing that I will do once I hear they've hired one of these guys is look back on who they have been on a coaching staff with as far as any of the, supposedly eligible and beneficial quarterbacks out there that we have to choose from to be the extension quarterback for us.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to play detective to your point. Oh, wait, Frank Reich. If Frank Reich was brought in, that means let's look Colts guys, these guys, Eagles guys. Yeah. That's what we're going to do. Bevel,
reason, right?
Dolphins guys, this, that.
Of course. You disagree? Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that's what we're gonna start doing. As soon as an offensive coordinator is hired, we're gonna start playing detective of like, okay, well, who is this guy? Who is the quarterback that was most likely to play with him? So no, I don't disagree at all. I don't push back one iota. I think you're right. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Something else I'd love to see happen. Thomas joining us with a gifting of a Boy Green Coffee Club membership. Tommy, a Boy Green Coffee Club membership. Very much appreciate that. Went to Big Country. Big Country, welcome back to the Boy Green Coffee Club. That's another raffle ticket for our contest. And we are running out of time, folks. Today is January 30th. Tomorrow is the 31st, which means on Sunday, February 1st, will be the end, of course, or technically the end of our raffle is tomorrow. And then we'll give away that prize on Sunday, February 1st. So, folks, make sure you get those raffle tickets in while you can, while the getting is good, before it's too late for you guys to add that to your raffle ticket totals. We'll also go to the phone lines here in just a moment. Thomas, you're up to 2 raffle tickets, by the way, for the contest. Just wanted to keep you updated on that. And yeah, real quick here, Bob, let's show the raffle prizes for this month. And thank you, Bob, by the way, for all your excellent questions during that interview we just consumed. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
Okay, let's dive in. Again, this is our raffle prizes for this month. If you are new to the channel, my name is Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. That guy next to me is Bob Lederer, the author of the book above my left shoulder, Beyond Broadway Joe, the Super Bowl team that changed football forever. And, folks, this is our raffle prizes for this month. We have a mint flip coin from this past season for the New York Jets. It comes with a certificate of authenticity. It's a piece of jewelry from the NFL in a beautiful jewelry box. It's very nice. A New York Jets polo, a New York Jets rivalry hat, Boy Green Woody t-shirt from our tailgate. We'll also throw in koozies, bottle openers, and things of that nature. Plus, we have a brand new Boy Green merch shop down in the YouTube description down below. We'll be adding both of those as well to this raffle prize. So all of those items are being gifted on Sunday, February 1st. All you have to do is spend $3, people. That is the best $3 you'll ever spend in terms of what you'll get. Whether buying a Boy Green Coffee Club membership for yourself, gifting it to your neighbors, super chats, all those are welcome here on the program. Make sure you guys take full advantage here on the show. And I appreciate everybody in our audience here. We got 400 people in the room here, Bob, this morning, which is terrific. So, folks, make sure you guys like the video here on YouTube. Go ahead,
By
Bob.
the way, I know that you know this, but there was the death of another alumnus from the Super Bowl team.
Yes, please, Bob, please. I'll bring
Frank
it
Ramos, who was the PR director from 1963 to 2002. So he saw it all. And if there was anybody who was an historian about the Jets from start until the beginning of the current Woody Johnson era, it was Frank Ramos. And Frank Ramos was a great source of information to me, kind of filling in holes for me. Like, he's the guy that told me that the Jets tried to get Bob Hayes when he came out of college in the 60s. And he's also the one who tipped me off about some of the other guys they tried to get. But the nicest thing about Frank Ramos to me is, after I sent him a preliminary copy of the book, he said to me, I've been waiting for years and years and years for somebody to write a book about the other guys who played with Joe, because I love Joe, and we all do, but there were 40-something other guys on that team that helped Joe win that Super Bowl as well, and they deserve the credit that they are really not getting as the years go by. So I had a very warm spot in my heart for Frank Ramos, and talked to him a couple of times, and very nice gentleman. And, for a guy to make it through all those different ownerships, from the Werblin era, through the Woody Johnson era, that takes quite a bit of smart political maneuvering.
Of course.
To job that long. And he was very smart and a wonderful guy. You didn't see anybody who had anything but the warmest comments about him. In fact, several of the guys that I email, when one of the Jets dies, I have a master list that I send to everybody that I named in my book. And even if there were guys who played 1 year for them in the 60s, I include them. And one of the guys that I sent to, his name is Bob Schweikert, who was supposed to be the next Paul Hornung for the Jets in the 60s, because he was a quarterback who could throw the ball. And Paul Hornung was so hot because he was a running back who could throw the ball. And Schweikert basically was in and out in 1 year. But he wrote me a note back and said that Frank Ramos was a wonderful guy and will be missed.
Wow. Well, thank you, Bob, for saying that because, again, I wanted to make sure. I'm glad that you said it because, again, for me, I've seen people telling wonderful stories about him, and I have no personal stories to share. So I love when people, it's cool to hear how important part of the book he was. That
he filled in holes, because he knew everything, and he talked me extensively about Werblin and why the other owners didn't like him, why they got upset with him, and that sort of thing. And that was very very revelatory to me, if that's the right word.
Revelatory.
Because you got the public discussion and the public stories about why they didn't like Sonny, and he kind of gave me just the inside look at what was going on, and that to me was very important since Werblin was so critical in creating the aura around the Jets and moving them from the terrible Titans to the exciting New York Jets.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that, Bob. And again, there's no proper way to transition from, that sadness this week. But I see someone has something in here that I'm glad that was put out there in the universe. Gator McCluskey jumping in here saying, if Andrew Luck had not retired and was the player he was capable of being, would Frank Reich have had tremendous success? Since Frank Reich is projected to be the guy, and I expect that to happen today based on all. Oh, nope, nothing. False alarm. Okay, I gotta keep taking a peek over at my phone for God's sakes. So false alarm. I expect that to happen today, and I've seen a lot of the reaction from Jet fans out in the universe saying, this guy stinks, this guy sucks, blah 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 blah. And I'm glad that Gator brought this up because Frank Reich got royally screwed when he chose to become the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. When he signed on the dotted line, it's like, I got 10 years of Andrew Luck. This is going to be great. And he got, I think, 1 year of Andrew Luck before he suddenly and abruptly retired in a preseason ahead of that year. And then Frank Reich and the rest of the staff just sort of had to figure it out. Now, Andrew Luck, he's a human being. He can make whatever decisions he wants for himself. But Frank got screwed. I want to say a different word. He got screwed. And it's terrible. So, yes, I think people would perceive Frank Reich a lot differently if he would have had Andrew Luck as he signed up for.
That could be, but I must impart, and I'm not going to, put all the weight behind this, but sure. My son, who is Bobby Jr., he told me he doesn't have a very high regard for Frank Reich because he kind of goes in the other direction and says if he was that great with the quarterbacks that he brought in after Andrew Luck, which he didn't have much success in developing, then he would have had really something to hang his hat on and say, boy, I'm a great quarterbacks coach. But the fact that it didn't happen in Bobby Jr.'s mind, told me, well, good luck with that one. But anyway, I'm not too excited about what they've done for defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator, and I have a real concern about come free agency, either how much more they're going to have to spend to attract guys to come to play for the Jets, or will there be guys who will say, go play for the Jets? What are you kidding? They could offer me $50 million and I won't go there. I want to win somewhere. So
let me ask you this, Bob, because this is another topic in social media land, and I don't think we've gotten we certainly haven't, at least on this show, gotten your chance to react to it. So Tanner Engstrand gets fired earlier this week, and now the Jets are set to hire someone else to replace him. And I've heard a narrative on social media that whoever the Jets are set to hire, it looks like it's going to be someone from this list that we brought up a second ago.
Yep.
I've heard from Jet fans that, well, it's not automatic that whoever that is going to be an upgrade over Tanner Engstrand. And before I share my opinion on the subject matter, where do you sit, Bob, on Tanner being fired and someone is set to replace him and how we should feel about said replacement?
If you want to make a judgment on whether the guy they hire is going to be as good or better or not as good as Tanner Engstrand, you tell me who the quarterback is going to be. Because,
sure.
Because as we saw this year, and I have to give Tanner Engstrand the benefit of the doubt because they didn't have a quarterback this year that could be called an NFL caliber quarterback. From the guy that Justin Fields, who they said they were going to unleash him to be a full quarterback, which he had never been allowed to do before, through to Brady Cook, who, hey, he's a nice kid, but he had no business being, playing 4 games as a starting NFL quarterback. And he'll go down in my heart along with, and here come the great names, Galen Hall, Pete Lisk. I'll play him a compliment and say Mike Tolliver, who at least was a passable NFL quarterback. But Brady Cook, no, don't think so. So if you tell me who the new quarterback is going to be, then I can tell you if the new offensive coordinator is going to have any more success. But I will put a notation on that and say, hey, if Tanner Engstrom had a real NFL caliber quarterback this year, if he had Aaron Rodgers, and I'm not in favor of keeping Aaron Rodgers, good luck in Pittsburgh with another year with that. I think Engstrom would have been taken much more seriously. And all I could evaluate him on, and I hope you agree with me, is did he call interesting, signals from the sidelines? And I think he did. I think he'd really mixed things up very well without going, hook and ladder plays every third down. He tried to mix it up and tried to do some things that put people in the best position to succeed. And between quarterback play, receivers who drop the ball, on and on and on, I think he played and coached, with half of his brain, tied behind his back, because there was limitations on what he could do. So I was not happy that they got rid of Tanner Engstrom, because I assume they're going to bring in a good veteran quarterback, and then we'll get an idea of how good he can play, along with, the one receiver we've got and the other one that we're going to get, maybe in the first round this year. And we've got a couple of good tight ends and an offensive line, that seem to be getting better and that could even get better during the offseason with some additions. And if they keep Breece Hall and with Allen coming back, I think they would have an NFL caliber offense to try to use. So, I don't think a new OC is going to make that much of a difference. But he's going to have the benefit of a quarterback who supposedly can stay healthy.
Yeah. So there's some of what I agree with what you said, Bob, but there's some of it that I'm not quite there. And again, this narrative that whoever the Jets hire, it's not an automatic upgrade over Engstrand. I'm Aaron Glenn. I could be fired if this year goes poorly, and I have to make a decision. Do I stick with Tanner, who is now going to be a second-year play caller at the NFL level to join those ranks? And I'm AG, I'm like, do I trust this guy with my life? Because that's what's happening here.
He's a dead man walking. Yeah.
Yes, right. If it doesn't work out this year, that is the perception. So if I'm AG, I totally understand throwing Tanner out in the cold and saying, you know what, I don't know if I want to trust him in my quarterback play. Now, did he have great quarterback play? Of course he didn't. It was terrible. Quarterback play was awful. But like, some of the numbers are the numbers. The Jets were bottom 5 in points, bottom 5 in yards. So Tanner, did he come up with a couple of cute things here or there? Of course he did. Yeah, yes, that was interesting. But still, Justin Fields had 4 games where he threw for under 60 passing yards. Some of the best. Kyle Shanahan, and that's a ridiculous thing to compare to Tanner because Tanner's a first-year play caller, but like Kyle Shanahan, no matter what his situation has been, he creates easy things for his quarterbacks, and his quarterbacks just produce. He's a system. It's a system thing, and he's able to do it. Now, I wasn't asking for Super Bowl activity from Tanner, but 60 passing yards 4 times in a season under his watch doesn't make me feel great. So I think AG saying, you know what, I'm throwing Tanner out the door, and I'm bringing a veteran guy, which is the majority of that list that we just looked at of people they're speaking with. With his job on the line, I'd be doing the same thing. Give me Greg Roman. Give me Frank Reich. Give me Darrell Bevel. Give me someone that's done this before for the position, and also from a quarterbacking perspective has some chutzpah. So I think the narrative that I just feel like people just have this clouded vision that AG just sucks. And I'm not saying he doesn't suck, but like everything is his fault. Like, oh, Tanner Stick. Oh, yeah. He made the wrong choice with Tanner. Oh, he made the wrong choice with Steve Wilkes. Oh, he made the wrong choice over here. I just think like people are just way over the top saying everything in the universe is Aaron Glenn's fault when I don't know if everything in the universe is his fault. I think actually I agree with the decision to move on from Tanner Engstrand. I think it makes sense.
I don't want to go too much into it because I know Alon's going to criticize how long we're talking without taking phone calls.
That is true. We're at an hour and 14 minutes right now.
But I have moved into the Jake Asman end of the field, and I think they should have fired Aaron Glenn. The way he has run the offseason has been a disaster.
Wait a second, Bob. We have a call right now from Alon. Do you want to go to it?
Sure. If he lets me get in with a word or two.
We'll see. All right, let's go to Alon live right now.
Aaron Glenn is a great coach. Jets fans need to be patient. He's building something special here. Trust the process.
Wow. Thank you, Alon.
I couldn't have said it better, Alon.
Wait, he's calling in again? Alon.
Aaron Glenn is a great coach. He's ahead of his time. Trust the process.
Can I hear it using the voice of Siri?
Okay, that's lovely. Wow, thank you, Alon, for calling in. Unbelievable. That's
for
great.
A guy for a guy who again we've heard over and over this week. One of the reasons he was hired because he knew how to really build a coaching staff. His building of this coaching staff for the next year is a disaster. It's a true disaster. I think, by the way, that Wink went bye-bye because Woody Johnson said, "Wait a minute, you want to hire another defensive coach, defensive coordinator? Fine with me, but you want me to give him a 3-year contract at $2 million a year when you may not even be here for the next 3 years, and I got to pay your contract off?" I think that's what happened, along with him wanting to call the plays himself, which, again, after what we saw 2 years ago, when they dumped Saleh and they made the defensive coordinator the head coach, and he also called the defense. I think it's too much to bear for any one guy. And yes, he wants to control as much as he can, his future. God bless him as far as that. I can't blame him. But I think he is playing with 2 sticks of dynamite, one on each foot. And it's not going to work well for him. He's going to have a defensive coordinator who's going to do everything during the course of the week, set the game plan and whatever. And Aaron Glenn's going to stand on the sidelines and call the defense. He doesn't even know how to use the clock properly. And he's going to be spending his time focusing on calling the defense. I think that's a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, that's going to be another one where I think we agree to disagree. Well, we're going to see the results, I suppose, right? Where I'm on the other side. I think this was the correct decision by AG. But here's the other thing. Speaking of calling defense and not calling defense, I don't know if you saw this week, Bob, but Robert Saleh was introduced as the next head coach of the Tennessee Titans. And boy, did he have some interesting things to say. I wrote a column about it this morning.
Go ahead. We should talk about that. But go ahead. Tell me in brief, in 2,000 words or less.
Yes, and here it is. And we'll go to the phone lines after that, and Lon and everyone in the audience, we promise, is Saleh was asked, "Are you going to call defensive plays here with the Titans?" And Saleh said, yes, he would. And then he said, "Well, let me tell you a story about the Jets." I'm like, oh, baby, here we go. And he said that, with the Jets, as we all know, because we were here to experience it, he decided not to call plays with the Jets. He handed the keys off to Jeff Ulbrich. And the first year was a disaster, but the rest of the time it was okay. Ulbrich was awesome as a play caller for the most part before he had to take over head coach. And Robert Saleh says, when I was in New York and I wasn't calling defensive plays, I felt like I was just the timeout and challenge guy, is how he described it, as he was joking with Borgo, which is Mike Borgonzi, which, by the way, a slight detour here. Does everyone have to have a nickname? Is Borgo, is that a normal nickname for someone? That seems sort of weird. Like Christopher? Oh, Chris. Oh, that makes sense. That's a natural nickname. Like Paul, does someone need to call me Pa? Is Paul not short enough? Anywho, that's sort of weird with the Borgo nickname.
Or
but
BG.
The point is,
how about BG? Yeah, right. Is that a good enough nickname?
I get that one all the time, so that one's fine. I get called that all the time. That's totally copacetic. But anywho, the thing I just don't get with Saleh is that he says, geez, I didn't get a chance to call the plays in New York. He he was the head coach. It was under his jurisdiction to change that if he wanted to call the plays. So like I just don't understand the way, and he set himself up for so many jokes to publicly announce that you felt like you were the challenge and timeout guy, which were areas in which he struggled in both categories. To say that was the thing he sort of focused on as the Jets head coach, sort of sets him up for a bunch of jokes.
Offensive or the defensive signals, he certainly had the opportunity to have a say, or to call the OC or the DC over and say, hey, what do you think? What do you think?
Sure, right. He said he was a part of game planning behind the scenes, but it's just not the same as calling plays. And again, he was the head coach, so we'll see what happens.
I just don't think it's something that any one person should have to do. But anyway, okay.
Fair enough. All right, let's do this, Bob. We're going to go to the phone lines, people. Again, I want to give another massive shout out to Nick Corte. So if you guys enjoyed that first half conversation with a lot of stuff that's above me and Bob's pay grade, with comp picks and everything else that exists in the universe, now we're going to open up the phone line. So folks, let it fly. We'll play a quick timeout. We're back after this.
1, 2, 3. Whoa! Boy Green, fucking daily, fucking daily, fucking daily. Talking Jets football, man. Boy Green daily, fucking daily, fucking daily. The New York Jets Football Club. Offense, defense, special teams, watch Jets football with Boy Green. Everyone, J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets. Boy Green, fucking daily, fucking daily, fucking daily. We're talking Jets football, man. Boy Green daily, fucking daily, fucking daily. Offense, defense, special teams, watch Jets football with Boy Green. J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets. Let's go!
Let's go, baby. The phone lines are lighting up, and I would expect nothing less. We have over 400 people in the room. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. 150 plus of those 400 plus are watching on YouTube, which we appreciate. Guys, hit that like button. It's a free way to contribute to this program. We'd appreciate it. 67 likes, 150 people in the room. This is getting weird. Like the video. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. And when I say back, I mean for the first time. Introduce him, Bob.
Here's Hef.
Yeah, I almost got trigger happy there.
Hey, okay, guys. Hey, go to bed with an itchy hiney, wake up with a smelly finger.
Oh, God. Hef, thanks for joining us.
All right, guys. Let me see now. You think Frank Reich, is he going to bring his old dusty book with him, or is he gonna has these years off? Has he studied the NFL and like, or you know what I find out about a good coach is he doesn't try to put a round peg in a square hole. He sees the players he has and he sees, okay, this is how I can make this guy work in a system. Is he that type of guy, or is he more like, this is how I do it and blah blah blah? You know,
that was the argument. That was the argument basically that Bobby Jr. gave me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. I would just tell you this. It's funny that you said that, Hep. So John Harbaugh is doing a little bit of the media, and he joined a radio show. He must have a relationship with the host, and he joined the show, and they were, I guess, we're supposed to hire Todd Monken, but he ends up being the head coach of the Browns. Can't blame him. He gets a head coaching gig for the first time in his life. And the host says, so Harbaugh, what are you looking for in your guy? It's exactly what you just described, Hef, is that he said, I don't want a coach that just comes in here, boom, boom, boom. I run a this system, and if these players don't fit, get them the hell out of here. He says, I want a coach to come in here, and he has an amorphous system. He looks at the talent and builds the system around the talent that we have available. Yep. Doesn't come in here and say, hey, I need guys at 6'2", this type, this, and if they're not that, get out. And I need these things. And that, of course, is what we're hoping for. Now, what do we know? To me, it's even hard to look at whatever he did at Stanford because, like, it was a 1-year thing, and I don't know how involved he was with all of the key. It was just a very bizarre situation. So it's a good question, but I think there's only one way to find out. When he inevitably gets hired, he will have a press conference, and I hope that's one of the first questions that gets asked to him.
Well, there's one way to find out, and that's for Aaron Glenn to ask him
Right. Hopefully that happened behind the scenes. Right. Of course. Yeah.
I think Frank Wright, I think he's a very religious guy, if I'm not mistaken.
Very much so. Yes. So
Right?
for people who forget, he was a quarterback forever. For people that remember his playing career, he was a backup quarterback forever. He finished his career in I'm sort of in this range, the late 90s. And then he had like a 5 to 7 year gap before he eventually got pushed into coaching. And in between that gap, Frank Reich, from his father, was going to get into being a pastor. He was going to be a preacher. And so he was dedicated to the Lord, and that's what he was going to do. And a calling of some sort happened during that time where someone said, man, yeah, this is great what you're doing, but, you should bless the football field with your abilities. And he went as a teacher, and they sort of sold him on being a teacher giving back. And that's sort of how you could do with this. And that's what sold them to stop so football career, preaching career, coaching, and that's how he had the pivot in 2004, 2005 of getting into coaching. He's been coaching ever since, outside of this most recent Stanford thing, whatever you call that. So he 100%, he is super religious.
Since you just said that, something popped in my mind, an AI kind of thing, and it's like The Exorcist, and Frank Reich shows up like the old priest. Dung, 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 dung. And he walks into the room, and there's the Jets in the bed. It's going to perform an exorcist.
The power of Christ compels you. Holy water, holy water, holy water.
That background you just described would have made him a perfect fit as a quarterback coach for Mendoza.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Yeah, I mean, we'll see if Nick Ferry ends up being right with his take. But
thanks, guys.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Hap. Hey, by the way, real quick, I don't mean to do this in public space, but I see we have Ol Yank in here. Hey, Ol Yank, you've won our MC Show digital pint glass giveaway, Ol Yank. So reach out to me any way that you can. I've got my email up here. Reach out. We're trying to contact you so we could get your address information to ship you out a pint glass. So yes, we've launched a brand new thing over on the MC Show digital channel with memberships, and we have merch and all kinds of fun stuff. So Ol Yank, you won one of those items. So again, reach out to me ASAP with your full name, address information, all that jazz. We'll get that pint glass out to you. Again, Ol Yank, you are next on my hit list to find, and I just saw you randomly in the comment section. So why not just yell it out to the universe? So Ol Yank, we're looking for you, or you can reach out to me on any social media platform.
By the way, in the world of Super Bowl Jets trivia, they had a backup defensive tackle named Steve Thompson who gave up football to go and become a pastor.
Oh wow, really?
A wonderful guy, and he had a congregation up in Washington State somewhere for decades. So really nice guy, very smart guy too.
Okay. Wow. Hey, I love that kind of trivia. That's terrific. All right. Let's go back. We've got a bunch of phone calls here, so let's keep going down the line here. Up next is Easy.
Hey, I have a joke for you.
A joke.
I got a quick joke
jokes.
for you.
Okay.
What do you get when you cross Alice in Chains with a comedy routine?
Alice in Chains with a comedy routine. I have seen Alice in Chains live. I'm not sure. What is it, Easy?
Yank my chains.
Boom ba. Ah, thanks, Easy. Really appreciate it. Thanks, pal.
Actually, just came up with that. It just hit me as funny.
Oh wow, nice.
Because I think AG is yanking all of our chains. I really do.
Yeah.
I think you and I are on the same side from what I heard you say earlier this week.
I think the easiest thing that would have been to do would have been to just fire the whole regime. This would have shown the players and coaches in the NFL that are available that the Jets are serious, that they're not putting up with failure, and they want to win. And I think keeping AG around and basically they got rid of everything around AG but AG. That's like taking the organs out and leaving the cancer. What do you think, Bob?
Well, but a key part of that would have been who they would have hired to replace him, because that would have been.
I understand that.
That would have been the coda. That would have been the coda they needed to really put the cap on the whole premise that we're serious about winning. You know, we're just not going to put up with.
But we don't want a one and done AG either.
I got another question for Bob though.
Yeah,
I got
but
a
that's
non-football related.
before you get to that question, but
Yeah.
that sends a bad message. If you fire AG 1 year into a 5-year deal and you say it's, hey, we mean business, that's what that means. That also sends out the message that you don't believe. You told everyone you believe. You gave him a 5-year deal, gave him the keys to the franchise, and 1 year in, you're like, yeah, get the hell out. You suck. So that means if I'm the next guy, I'm like, are you going to give me my 4 years? Or are you going to give me my 5 years? How am I supposed to believe you? Look what just happened to AG.
Excuse me. Let me ask you something. If you're running a company,
yeah,
and you hire a guy,
sure,
and he destroys your company through incompetence,
yeah,
and then to be a scapegoat, he pretty much fires everybody around him, but he's still there. And currently, the perception is he's still making bad choices.
Sure.
I mean, the way he handled the Tanner Engstrom thing, that was really bad. He should have just fired him or kept him. But then he demoted him.
It sounds like they're going to get the same guy, though. So, like, while people can make fun of the PR nightmare that it is, if they were going to hire Frank Reich to be the play caller, and they're going to fire Tanner Engstrom and still hire Frank Reich, then he got the same thing he wanted. Just the PR part of it was a little messy. Like, he still gets
the
same
PR
guy.
part is going to keep other coaches and players from wanting to come to a shit show.
So he has to prove it this year. It's winner.
But how's he going to? But how's he going to prove it if he can't bring in the guys he wants to bring in to make a difference?
Well,
the only thing he's proven is that he is a shit show.
We don't know.
Am I right?
So
Bob, he's proven to be inadequate.
But let's see
the
what
only
happens
thing
this
that he has
offseason.
proven.
What free agents can they bring in? What coaches can they add? At that point, we'll know. Exactly. But that's the point. You guys are saying, who's going to come here? This place sucks. And I'm saying, well, let's wait and see. If we go to free agency and they can literally bring in no one, I'll come on the show and say, Bob and Easy,
we won't
know that until free agency.
That's what I just said. I'm saying when free agency happens and the Jets are unable to sign people, I will come on this show and say Bob and Easy were right. They can't bring anyone in. I'm telling you that's not going to happen. They are going to be able to bring people in because they have piles of money. People are going to say, I'm sorry, I'm not playing for the Jets. 50 million. What? Okay. Yep. I'm a Jet. I love the Jets. Jets. Jet. That's what's going to happen.
And then you burn through your cap space and you
around.
can't put the team together properly.
We'll see if they can or can't.
We said that about a certain quarterback from Oregon.
Anyway, Bob, I had a question for you.
Yep.
Hamantashen or Rugler?
I like Hamantashen better.
Me too. I love the jelly. These are Jewish cookies.
But I like the Hanukkah food even better.
Yeah.
Well, like name 3.
The donuts.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the Hanukkah donuts.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going partially senile, so I always have to look at my wife and say, "What do you call those things again?" But they have the. I'll look it up. They have these Hanukkah donuts that are full of jelly or chocolate or whatever. And
I thought they were munchkins.
And they're made with a lot. They're made with a lot of oil, so you can't have too many of them during the day.
Hanukkah donuts. All right. Well, that's a new thing. So thank you for the comedy and the takes. Yes.
Well, Paul, I'm glad to see that you will agree that if they can't get the guys they want in free agency, and we'll only hear rumors about stuff because you don't know for sure if they go after, if they go after the center from Pittsburgh,
Baltimore,
and he ends up going somewhere else other than Pittsburgh, you're never going to hear, well, I didn't want to go to the Jets. Why would I want to go to that?
Oh, I think that's definitely going to come out. What about the Gruden thing that people say this week that he did?
My first thought was, hey, great opportunity, but he wants to be a head coach. He doesn't want to come in as an OC. I don't know if you saw, I tweeted out that when Jim Schwartz got really PO'd in Cleveland and basically walked out.
Yeah, sure.
I tweeted, and in fact, I sent it to you as well. Here's Woody's chance. Go to Jim Schwartz and say, Jim, come and be our DC. And I promise you, I'll put it in writing that if we have to dump Aaron Glenn, you're the new head coach.
That just doesn't, like, There's a couple of things here. First off, Jim Schwartz. Jim Schwartz is on.
You like the idea?
Well, I love Jim Schwartz, but here's the problem. First off, that Jim Schwartz story didn't come out till an hour after they hired Brian Duker, so that's unfortunate timing.
Oh, really?
And
No, I think it came out before, but okay, if you say so.
Yeah, and here's the other problem is that
I would have fired Brian Duker then.
I'm sure you would. I'm sure a lot of people would in the audience. They're still questioning who is Brian Duker, I bet. But like Jim Schwartz is under contract with Cleveland. They say they're not letting him go. He says, I'm not coaching. So it's drama. I haven't heard of many trades in history for an assistant coach.
Hey,
I don't know.
We could very well could have that Mr. Irrelevant draft choice that could change the whole scenario.
Of course it could. So that's possible. But and with all due respect to ourselves, right, to have some awareness here, if I'm Jim Schwartz and I have my choice of any job, I could be the DC in Buffalo, I could be the DC in San Francisco, I could be the DC anywhere. The Jets? Like, I don't, with all due respect, I don't think that's a choice I'm making if I'm Jim Schwartz. So I don't think he gets out of his contract. And if he got out of his contract, I don't think he picks us. And so for those reasons, I like the guy.
Has he been a head coach?
Yes, he was a head coach in Detroit about 15 years ago or something like that. So he's been a head coach, but then he's been a defensive coordinator ever since. So, again.
And he's just about, if you look at Cleveland, when they played Cincinnati the last game of the season, and, I turned that game on to see what was going on. And wow, he knows how to build a defense.
Oh, I am not questioning his defensive acumen whatsoever. He does a marvelous job. And we'll see how the Cleveland situation plays out. The other problem is if you're the Jets, right? And let's say you want to pursue Jim Schwartz, because he's under contract, there's a lot of waiting that I assume is going to happen as they try to work this out, which means if you don't hire Duker or you got rid of Duker, let's just say that happens, you're just waiting around for Schwartz. And then what if Schwartz eventually either doesn't pick you or resolves the situation in Cleveland? Now you're the Jets. You're caught holding the bag 2 weeks into February, less than a month from free agency. Who's your defensive coordinator, let alone who you're signing to play on defense? And I think at that point it could be a disaster. So
you make a good point, but I believe in Woody.
Okay, there you go. That's the spirit. All right, let's keep rolling on the phone lines. Your boy, Professor Philly Doodles.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Philly. You got the whiteboard for us today?
No, I did not bring the one board.
I really feel like you're not taking me seriously if you're not going to.
I'm not taking my job seriously right now. You're right. Actually, I woke up late from home today because I left my phone in the living room last night instead of my bedroom.
How bad is the weather by you?
It's chilly. It's cold. It'll get windy, and we're supposed to get maybe 6 inches of snow in my area. Raleigh, by the capital down here, is going to get probably slammed pretty bad.
And you get even a little bit of snow, and you guys get paralyzed.
Oh yeah, they freak out down here.
They don't have the equipment down there. They don't have the
exactly. Yeah, they would have to put like heated driveways if they wanted everyone to feel safe
on the street.
But go ahead, Philly.
Yeah, hearing you guys talk just now, I find it funny. So, to me, okay, Mike Glenn optimism is literally just about gone. So my thing is, I just want him to win because I'm a Jet fan. It has to happen, right? He needs to win. My thing is, if you're Woody, you've sat back, you've seen everything that's going on. This guy can't get anybody in the building. Then he gets old dudes to be available. Then,
he's going to have to pay a lot of money to as well.
Correct. Like Bob alluded to, hey, dude, I'm paying you an exorbitant amount of money, probably higher than a lot of other staff members in the NFL.
Some say $14 million.
Dude, whatever. If it's 10 or more, it's egregious. So
it does seem like it's at least 10. Yeah, it might be as much as 12 is from what I've seen.
Yeah, and then they were playing penny pinching with Moogie and that guy I was telling you about when that article dropped, or that guy said that on a podcast. I believe that. Now I believe it because Woody's like, damn, I'm not paying $30 million to staff to give me 3 wins. Like that's where we need to correlate everything.
Well, he's got to pay off the people they just fired because all of them have to be on. And I was looking to see the coordinator will make at least $1 million, and the more experience they have, the higher that number goes. And even the assistants are making $150,000, $200,000.
I got to think: Are we still paying Hackett? Are we still paying other guys? Like God knows how many people is he still paying? So my thing is, I don't know how many GLP medicines are out there that Woody has have money in. I don't know what other tissue boxes he could sell to continue to deal with stupidities. So to me, I see a scenario where if Mike Tomlin, if you're already going to be in debt, which we know he's not because he's a billionaire, but let's say you're already going to keep pulling into debt, why not go into debt with an optimism of hope? So I would, if he wins 6, 7 games, if you fire and move on from him, you're still in debt, but then you have a chance at a guy named Mike Tomlin, where you look at him and you say, oh, crap, not only am I paying already, so who gives a F? I know this guy can bring in whatever names he needs to bring in. That's the problem. You told Woody as a head coach, dude, I'm going to write this ship right. Don't worry about it. I'll get it straight. And you went, yo, I got to fire everybody I just told you I could probably get it done with. Is that okay?
And he's also got to look. He's also got to look at the balance sheet. He's going to lose a lot of ticket holders next year.
Now, all right, let me run a little data.
How loyal Jet fans are. I'm telling you, my friend who helped me with my book, who is a great Jet memorabilia guy, and he had 4 tickets. Each one was $500 a game. And he finally cashed in and said, no more. I'm not doing this anymore.
BG, I'm going to do a little bit of stats here. We're going to do a guess who for you guys. Ready?
Okay, let's go.
Okay. The year is 2023.
Okay.
All right. Offensive stats.
Okay.
Yards, 32nd. Points, 34st. Giveaways, 14. And then we're going to go into the defense. No, passing offense. Yards, ranked 32nd. Touchdowns, 30th. Interceptions, 6th. So that's not bad. That's for offense. All right, we'll leave it at that. Who do you think was involved in that coaching staff? Who was a part of that?
So this is a team you're saying, or?
Yeah, in 23. What personnel, what person was in charge of it?
23.
I don't think he's talking about the Jets. I think he's trying to guess for the team. Yeah, because that would be Aaron Rodgers. For 4 plays.
Yeah. So in 23, who had those stats on their team?
My only fair assumption is what you're attempting to do here, Philly Doodles. If I'm attempting to play psychiatrist here, is that Frank Reich with the Carolina Panthers?
That's Frank Reich in 11 games. That's a Carolina
You're so
Panthers
predictable,
coach.
sir. You're so predictable.
With a good quarterback that was not proven yet.
Good?
So
he was a rookie.
Yeah, there's a good quarterback because he made the playoffs. So he's got to be at least somewhat good. I'm not saying he's great. See, that's the thing, right? Our barometer, we have to understand, is you got to be good enough. Brady Cook is not better than Bryce Young, correct?
Of course not. Right.
Okay. So a rookie season, he had Bryce Young. A year later, what happens with a better coach? So what I'm saying is I'm afraid of antiquity. Like, I don't even know if that's a real word, but
I don't know if that is. But let me throw a quick challenge flag here before we progress any further here, because I've heard a lot of people, as part of the Frank Reich evaluation, go, look at him at Carolina, he sucked. Look at him at Bryce Young. and I say, wait. Was he the offensive coordinator or was he the head coach? And as we just saw with Saleh, Ulbrich, Aaron Glenn last season, like when you're the head coach, and Ulbrich, I mean, when he had to fill an interim rise for the entire team, you could get overwhelmed with, oh my goodness, there's a million things going on here. But when you look at Frank Reich and solo it when he's an offensive coordinator or a quarterback's coach, and his job is this: don't worry about defense, don't worry about head coach, don't worry about PR, don't worry about press conferences. This is your job. When you focus certain people, when they have one job to do, they do a lot better. So, like when people point out, Carolina, Bryce Young, all this other stuff, well, his job wasn't just quarterback's coach. His job wasn't just offensive coordinator. He had to oversee the entire operation. And I'm not saying, hey, look, the defense is great or the special teams were great. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying with his attention span being split across all of those different things, he obviously did a terrible job. Of course, he was fired part of the way, halfway through, 3/4 of the way, whatever the number is. It was like 11 games or something. Into the Panthers season, he got fired and he got thrown out the door. I don't think whatever happened in Carolina is a proper judging of.
But he had a rookie quarterback. You know, in their first season, no rookie quarterback is going to excel.
Sure, right. If you want to go in that range too, sure. But I'm just saying, in an overall sense, a lot of people are putting the offensive woes on Reich during Carolina. And sure, if you guys want to do that, that's fine. But note that he was not the offensive coordinator. He was not just the guy calling plays. He had to run the entire team. He did a terrible job doing it. I think the good news about Frank is that you're in theory, you're hiring him to do one job. It's either the quarterback's coach or passing game coordinator or offensive coordinator, whatever they decide, they're going to give him that role. So I think. And the other thing is, I go back to the rant I had like an hour ago, or however long ago it was, is that Frank Reich has experience. He's a former quarterback himself. He has been around coaching for 20 some odd years. Tanner Engstrand was in his diapers when Frank Reich was throwing a football in the NFL. If I'm AG and I have to pick one of these guys to save me off a cliff, I am picking Frank Reich 1,000 times out of 1,000 over Tanner Engstrand. If I have one season and I got to pick one guy to try to save me, I'm picking the more experienced guy over the younger guy.
I'm going to take one of the two other veteran experienced OCs.
Yeah.
Right.
Somebody who was just in the NFL. Even so, Herbert and company might have not whatever, but they were also missing offensive linemen. So those same flags can be thrown for what happened to Greg Roman. The same flags can be thrown for other guys. Like, you tell me you start missing offensive linemen. We've seen what happens to the Jets when we start missing Mekhi Becton.
Sure.
And that's not even a praise, right? So it's not even. I think two things could be said to be the same, right? So almost it puts me and you at a level where we're like, well, it is what it is. We got to see what happens. But I just get you got to the panic's got to be there where you're
Philly,
pulling up whatever you got.
Go look up Frank Reich's offense when he was running the Colts.
Well, I won't even go there. I'll go when he had Carson Wentz, which everyone thought should have never been anything too great, and he almost ran for an MVP level that season. So 100%. I'm understanding of that. My thing is the perception is that was done almost 10 years ago. And the last iteration we had of him was not great. Frank Tepper, as the owner, does not help you. You want to talk about tampering. Temper is a tamperer. But, I don't know. In the end, it just reeks of a lot of desperation.
It is.
I hope they do take some
time. It is
desperation.
Yeah. Right? You know, like everyone is yelling on this show that like Aaron Glenn is going to be fired if he sucks. And for some people, he might even get fired halfway through the season. So this reeks of desperation. Beep, beep, beep. Doctor has nailed it. Yes, it is desperation, which is also part of this other conversation that EZ called it and said, he's going to struggle to bring guys in. No shit. He's struggling right now, it appears, by all accounts, to bring guys in. So that's why on the Frank Reich thing, looking at all these options, again, I think him, Greg Roman, Darrell Bevell all have their own intriguing qualities of why they would make sense. And maybe multiple of them are going to join the staff. We have multiple vacancies on the offensive staff. We'll sort of see what happens here. But I think Frank is among the better of the group. Now, those are the choices. And if you think the choices suck, then I guess go to a different buffet. But as we're operating with those as the choice on the table, I think you could do worse than Frank Reich.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. Like if he, it's all about who he brings in that quarterback room as well. So if Frank Reich's like, you know what, I got a guy that I know can whisper enough, sweet little somethings into to this guy's ear to boost up a passing percentage for the year. That'd be great. I mean, we know one thing's for certain: they ain't launching out no rookie quarterback out there. No Ty Simpson is gonna get fixed in a season with not enough work under his belt from college. So it's gonna be a veteran. To me, just screams. If Kirk Cousins is available, Kyler Murray, I think, would not work well with Frank Reich. That's two different styles of play. I mean, Carson Wentz was a little bit of a running quarterback, but I don't know. I don't know. But we're going to be in for some.
By the way, he doesn't have the experience to point to, but I'd love to consider Chad Pennington as the quarterback's coach because he went through the process of not playing right away. Of coming as an undersized quarterback who, over the course of time, got molded into a guy who, until he got hurt, was a hell of a good quarterback.
Hey, BG, I don't know if you could do this. Could you flash up that image I gave you on from Discord? Yeah, I think
from Discord. Oh, let me see here. Where are we at?
See what the crowd thinks of this one right here.
Oh, are you talking about this Diego Pavia thing?
No. The Woody. The 20 Woody.
Where is this?
5'8" Diego Pavia.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, and by the way, just so everyone knows, that is That is a fake media person.
Yeah.
So there is no Diego Pavia Jets interest that we know of. That's a fake thing. But yes, I'm grabbing this now. Yes, this could be a new merch.
They should bring him in, and he should compete with Brady Cook next year.
Oh,
there
God,
you
Diego
go.
Pavia?
Wow, man, you're really revving my engine, man.
For practice
so
squad,
many
yes.
quarterback solutions.
Squad
This is beautiful.
Yeah, so when they play Justin Fields, they'll have a guy who can play Justin Fields on the practice squad.
Ah, great. That's awesome. All right, so here it is, Philly. There you go.
Yeah, look at that.
One of the best 32 owners in football. A Philly doodle special here. That's beautiful.
Philly, did you send it? Did you send it to One Jets Drive?
No, I'm gonna send it as a shirt. Maybe mail it to them to see what size.
Oh, there you go. Sure.
He looks like a guy who'll wear a shirt too big for him, just because
nothing wrong with that.
So,
Doodles, thank you for the brilliant comment.
All right, guys, thank you.
Good weekend, Philly.
Yeah, there he is. Philly joining us here on the program. We keep the train rolling. Fun graphics, jokes, comments. Everything is on board here. Again, 500 people in the room, including 130 of those on YouTube. If you guys want to call into the show, there's a pinned comment on youtube.com/boygreen25. Let's keep going in order here. Up next, Carl.
Hey.
Hello, man with the Jets tattoo. How are you?
Whoa. That's not how he identifies himself today, Bob. So read the name as it lies. That is just Carl on his screen. Carl. Double Carl.
I wanted to kind of throw something
in there. Bob, stop calling me names now, okay?
Yeah, that's it. That's getting a little aggressive. Yeah,
hey, listen. You know, if we have so many opinions that change daily with the Jets, all our Jet fans, we have opinions about everything, who we should hire, who we shouldn't hire. If we hire any one of the 5 offensive coordinators that their names are out there, somebody's going to complain about something.
That's definitely true. It's definitely true. By the way, I'm seeing this immediately from the comment section. Yeah, Chad undersized, Bob. He was 6'3", 225 pounds. Yeah,
Chad?
where was the? Yeah, Adam Marshall, 100%. When you said undersized, that made me cock my head. I was like, "What?" And then I saw a few comments about it. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about there, Bob. Come on, Bob. Oh, Bob left.
Hey, he had to go to the bathroom.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Hey, how come none of us?
I thought the phone was ringing. I thought it might be Bobby Jr., but it wasn't.
Oh, no, Bobby Jr. But yeah, so Chad, I think he was perfectly sized. But go ahead, Carl.
Oh, you can let me talk now or what?
Yeah, let's see.
Okay. Anyway, what I'm going to say is it doesn't matter what we think. None of us Jet fans work for any NFL teams that I can recall, do we? We don't. The thing I'm trying to say with Aaron Glenn is, no, right now he's not my first choice to be the head coach. But Mike Tomlin was never coming here, okay? Jim Harbaugh was never coming here. So Aaron Glenn has this team for hopefully the next year, okay?
Mm-hmm.
There's comes a point with a person, a man, a woman, whatever, when you get to your lowest point and you have 2 choices. You can just quit or you can say, I'm going to make this thing work. I am going to show people that I'm not a joke. And then you give that person a chance to rebuild that reputation. He was never an NFL coach before. He made mistakes. He knows he made mistakes. So everybody's saying, well, he fired everybody, so let's bring them all back. No, that wasn't going to work. So now we're bringing new people in. The guy's going to get another chance whether we like it or not. Mm-hmm. All we can do is stand behind a guy and hope he learned his lesson. He's been in the NFL. He's been around players. He's been a player. Let's give the guy a shot because we have no other choices. And Frank Reich knows more about football than Tanner Angstrom. He forgot more about football than Tanner Angstrom knows. So give them a shot. That's all we got. And you know what? If you don't like it, you don't have to tune into Boy Green. You don't have to put the TV on and watch a game. You don't have to watch Jet content. Just go about your daily life. But you have to say, look, this is what we have. This is the business we chose. This is what we have right now. Let's get on board and give it a shot. Because you know what? For as much negativity as there is, look at the other side. This just might work.
We can only hope. Carl, thanks for the call.
The only thing I can say in response to that is that everything in our lives, from sports to the teams we root for, to politics, to the lives that we live every day with our family and such, everyone has opinions.
Right.
Some very strong, some not so strong, but most of the time those opinions are very hard to change.
Yes, they are.
And Jet fans have very strong opinions, some out of very great frustration, some out of watching them for a lot of years, and people who think, and I'm not one of them, who think they know really the insides of football and what they're doing wrong and such. So in a way, I disagree with you. I agree with you. Look, we don't have a choice. Aaron Glenn's going to be the coach this year. Doesn't mean we have to like it. Doesn't mean we don't have to have our questions about what's going to happen or fears about what's going to happen. But you're right. Ultimately, they're going to play the season, and he's either going to sink, swim, or somewhere in between. And it'll always give us something to talk about, every day, 365 days a year on Boy Green.
You're true. Right, Bob. And I will say something. I've been watching the Jet for probably a lot longer than a lot of the people that call into this show.
Yep.
And when I was a younger man and I used to watch the Jets, I used to get insane. I mean, when the Jets lost, my week was shot, man. My wife wanted to leave me because she couldn't stand being around me.
Wow.
And I learned something that I'd like to just pass along. It doesn't matter what we do. We cannot change it. We can't, no matter how we feel about it, we can't change it. Yeah, we can all have our opinions. I have a lot of opinions about, what they should do, what they shouldn't do, but it really doesn't matter. And I've just learned over the years that the only thing I really have with the Jets is hope. Every year I just hope. And you know what? If it don't work out and I'm still alive the next year, I'll do it again. That's it. That's all I can do.
Well, Carl, I'll tell you this. Hope is a better four-letter word than the ones that's normally screamed in my direction as it pertains to the New York Jets. So I will take hope over some of those other choices.
I agree. Thanks a lot.
There he is, Carl, joining us here on the program. Wow, passionate.
Formerly the man with the Jets tattoo.
Allegedly. I don't know. I just saw Carl, so I will identify as the screen tells me to identify. Next here on the list is another Jets content creator. It is Ricky New York Live, as it says on his name and as it says on his beautiful backdrop. There he is. Ricky
Morning, Ricky.
Live.
Morning, guys. How you doing?
We're good.
Well, thank you. Yes, sir.
Bob, my condolences. I'm so sorry to hear about your diagnosis. Asthmatitis is a terrible thing to have.
Yes.
But winning cures all. So there is hope. You can still come out of this on the other side.
Wow. I don't know what disease this is called, Ricky, but
Wow.
JQuest57 seems to have a fever for some Ricky New York for life.
Right on. Okay. And after Easy's joke, I feel that the coffee club, I have to redeem us with one of my own.
Okay, good. Lay it on us. Let's go.
So, a Miami Dolphins fan goes into the store to buy some condoms. He takes them up to the counter, and the lady says, "All right, that will be $7.99 plus tax." The Dolphins fan, horrified, says, "Tax. I thought they would stay on by themselves."
Okay, that's good. Okay, this is a new part of it for the calls. I like it, Ricky. Nice job to redeem us for that one. I appreciate that.
Yes, that's an original.
Yeah.
At any rate, yeah. I mean, Carl is right, man. It's the season's going to happen whether we like it or not. Screaming and yelling, fire AG all day long. It's not going to change anything. I said this the other day. If all we had to do was yell and scream, fire the coach, Adam Gase wouldn't have made it from his introductory press conference to training camp. It's just a fact. But and the other thing is people can say oh, nobody's going to want to come here and play for the Jets. I've heard that before. And I remember one year people were saying that we got not only probably the best offensive free agent, but the best defensive free agent that same year. Now, one turned out to be pretty good. The other one turned out to be a disaster when we landed Le'Veon Bell and CJ Mosley in the same offseason. But prior to signing those two guys, people were saying the same thing. Oh, no one's going to want to come here. So, hey, you know what? My wife always says it all comes down to money. And it's true about a lot of things. I used to have a business partner one time that told me, you know what? Whenever me and my wife argue, we could be arguing about what we're going to have for dinner, what we're going to have, do later. But if you dig a little bit deeper, there's always some kind of financial issue underlying the whole thing. Yeah. And it's very true. So, just like winning cures all, dude, money makes a difference. So, people aren't going to go, oh man, it's the Jets. Who cares if they're offering me $20 million a year? They care. Trust me. Mm. So, right now I'm not worried about all that. We'll see what transpires with the coaching staff and people ragging on, us potentially hiring Reich, but these are the same people that said, oh, they didn't like Tanner. He's never called plays. He's never done this. We want somebody experienced. Now we're talking to somebody experienced. Well, they don't like that either. Some people you just can't please. Me personally, there's only one thing that I'm focused on right now, and that's going on down in Mobile. So,
yes.
I have a cohort that has boots on the ground that's feeding me information right now, and so I've been all over that. And there was a draft guy on one of the shows, I don't know, maybe a week or so ago, and he's like, "Man, you know what? There really aren't any offensive, interior offensive linemen that really stand out to me or whatever." And I'm like, dude, there's actually a few decent ones. And particularly we were talking about centers, and I'm thinking, what about the kid from Kansas, Sam Hedge? And well, apparently he had a real day on day 2 and followed it up pretty well. And Connor and Trevor were raving about him. And they were like, you know what? He's the one guy that handled Lee Hunter from Texas Tech, who's been a beast there that so far. And man, that sounds like and man, they've got him ranked at 200 and something overall, mid to late 5th round pick. I'm thinking, hey, you know what? I'll spend a day 3 pick on a center like that could possibly be a long-term solution for us.
We don't have a third rounder.
Yeah, right. No, fifth rounder. Fifth.
Yeah. We could have bonus fifths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
as Nick Forte indicated.
Yeah. So, but so far it sounds like most of the guys that I've been really interested in have been doing pretty well down there. Now, my favorite corner who's in Mobile, he got beat. What's the guy's Ted Hurst?
Yes, the Jackson. Yeah. The wide receiver
beat him with that crazy one-handed catch that on day one, which like that'd be kind of hard for almost anybody to defend. That was a tremendous catch, but
of course, yeah.
Julian Neal, kid from Arkansas, I brought him up like a week ago or so when Badshaw called in.
Yeah,
because he's an Arkansas.
He appreciates that. Yeah, right.
But dude, this kid's like almost 6'2", big, lanky, physical corner. And what I like about him is the punch that he's got at the line of scrimmage, the way he gets hands on receivers and really disrupts them at the line and throws the timing off. Really, really physical corner. And I'm thinking, man, he seems like he would fit really well in an AG system. So, and also the Shrine Bowl was just happening too. And,
correct. Yep.
Devin Marshall from NC State, another guy like that likes to get hands on receivers at the line. And so far, I've been really encouraged with what I've seen from some people, and I'm looking forward to that, as it transpires. Also, Jacob Rodriguez, the Texas Tech linebacker, my goodness, forcing fumbles, getting interceptions, so it wasn't just in college that he's been a turnover machine. It looks like that's going to continue. And man, wouldn't it be nice to have a linebacker that could actually cover?
Please.
Yeah. Right. So, you know what? Fingers crossed, but obviously we got to get the coaching hires right. And we got to hit on the picks, but my goodness, I mean, don't tell your dad I said this, but barring the Cowboys actually being relevant, and depending on how bad the Colts might be, shoot, we could be talking about 8 top 50 picks between this year and next year. That's a pretty nice war chest. That's a lot of ammo. And, like I said, you got to hit on the picks, but, we get that right. We could turn this thing around pretty quick. So
Ricky, before you go, give a plug for your next Senior Bowl content or what's cooking.
You know what? Once it wraps up, I'm going to give a breakdown of the whole thing. And, also, I'll have some kind of pre-draft content coming up. I haven't done any mocks yet on the channel because I've been waiting for the Super Bowl to happen and put this year in the books officially before I get to that. And I've been really tempted. I've been very tempted to do it, but I've kind of stuck to my plan, and I've been holding off so far. But at any rate, coming up, in the next week or so, I'm going to have a lot of draft content coming up. And, by the way, tomorrow night we'll be announcing the winner of our Garrett Wilson autographed helmet for one lucky caller.
So jealous. Good luck to everyone who's in that running.
Yeah. So it's gonna be cool. And then next for February, we're giving away an autographed Curtis Martin photo. So yeah.
Oh baby, Hall of Fame.
I'm trying to do a little bit to give back to the community. So at any rate, man, thanks as always, Paul. Dude, you're always very generous. Promoting me and the channel anytime that I call in, and I super appreciate that. But hey, man, fingers crossed. And I know that AG said the big ships turn slowly, but you know what? We get those picks right, and that big ship might take a hard right. So we'll see. And I don't mean like when the Bills kick in the Super Bowl. I mean, yeah. So right on, man. You guys have a great day.
You two have a great weekend. By the way, Paul, did you know who Miami hired yet last night as their quarterbacks coach?
I did see that. That is the one
Let's
and only.
Announce it to the world.
Oh yes, of course. Let me see. Maybe I have a good picture of him. Let me put this up on the screen because I had to write a piece about it late last night. Let me see. Do I have a picture of him? Where is he? Oh yeah, here he is. Here he is. You guys will remember. Jet fans, fear this. This man has returned to the AFC East. He's a man that caused all kinds of terror for the Jets. That is this man, Nathaniel Hackett. Welcome back to the AFC East. He is the quarterbacks coach for the Miami Dolphins. It is Green Bay Dolphins down there. They are the Miami Packers. Jeff Hafley is the head coach. He came from Green Bay. John Eric Sullivan was the VP over there. Now he's the GM. And now Nathaniel Hackett. Fear the hack. The hack is back. And he is putting his grubby coach hands all over whoever the hell is playing quarterback for the Dolphins, which should be great news for the Jets. But I could, when this came through, I'm like, is this a joke? Is this a joke? And I'm gonna write about it in my diary later, like Nathaniel Hackett. But all right, well, yep. So congratulations.
And they went from the genius offensive brain of Mike McDaniel to a staff that has him as the quarterback coach.
It is quite a beautiful journey. Unbelievable. So, Hack, welcome back, buddy. Welcome back with open arms. It's great to see you, Nathaniel Hackett. Hardly knew you. Back to the phone lines. It's Bill Aimley. Bill.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, what a way to follow that up.
Yeah, all this optimism is killing me.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord, it's insane. I don't even know where to begin with this stuff. With the comp picks, if we're awarded comp picks, does that actually add to the total number of picks in the draft, or is some teams losing the pick?
Good question. Yes. So if the Jets get the picks as projected, they're expected to get at least 1/5, likely 2. These are additional picks. They're not taken away from anybody.
Okay,
so
good.
they could only, the comp picks come between the rounds of 3rd round through the 7th round, and they come at the ends of rounds. Again, there's a formula that Nick explained earlier of who picks where. So, okay, let's say the Jets and Cowboys both get a comp pick in the 5th round. Who picks in front of who? Again, Nick sort of explained some of the math that's beyond my pay grade of going into that. But yes, they are bonus picks essentially, and those should be announced, he said, right around free agency. So we should get that update on officially the amount of picks. He projects the Jets will have 10 picks in this draft. There's a chance at 11. So we'll see.
Yeah.
And it adds up to 32 picks to the whole draft, including Mr.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, right. Just think about it that
Correct.
way, right? There's 32 teams in the NFL. At a maximum, there will be 32 comp picks rewarded, which makes sense because, like, if they had like 100 draft picks awarded, like the 4th round would take 30 years. Like they just we would just the round would never end. So they split it up evenly across it's not 7 rounds, it's 32 teams from rounds 3 through 7. So now we're getting into
but
math.
in the good old days, there used to be 17 rounds.
Right, exactly. I was going to say that.
Yes.
Now those, are you going to tell me those were shorter than today's 7 rounds? I don't believe that at all.
Yeah, I can't remember when the 7-round era started. I think it was somewhere in the 80s, 90s, and comp picks didn't start till free agency started, which was in the 90s after some of the Cowboys championships where they were able to get picked apart. So comp pick formula is relatively new. That's like 1993 onward. So that's pretty relatively fresh in the modern era of the last 30 years.
Right. I've been doing a lot of these mock drafts. I say, well, let me check these out, and what I've been able to do, but I don't know if Muji can do it. I've been able to go back with the 2nd pick and trade with one of the other teams, like in the top 10, like with the Chiefs who are number 9, and I end up getting their 40th pick, and I'm like, cool. I go down just a couple of slots, and I pick up another top 50 pick. So that's what I've been focusing on in order to kind of, give us additional picks up in the top 50. I've been focusing the first couple defense, the next one offense, et cetera, et cetera. So I've been able to get a couple of tight ends here, a couple of edge rushers and what have you. One name that I keep running across, there's a quarterback by the name of Jack Strand, 6'5", 220, I think he is, or something in that nature. And his scouting report says he has a very strong arm. In other words, he has a lot of the qualities that one looks for in a starting quarterback. The only thing is, of course, his competition, I believe, is second division teams, not, your Oklahomas and your USCs and so on. But my thing is, I'd love to see what this guy looks like at the combine, because, given what I'm seeing here, I'm like, if I were the Jets, I'd take a shot at, using up one of my 6th or 7th round picks to pick this kid up as a prospect and work with
here's
him.
his size, by the way. Jack Strand. He's 6'5", 240 pounds.
There
He's
you go.
And, to get my boss in there, he's wicked smart. His major is engineering physics. So this is obviously a very bright kid, and he is at Moorhead. That is the school of choice that this young man hails from. So yes, the Combine is one of my favorite events. It's coming up in a little less than a month. And I love when we get the opportunity where you get a Jack Strand, right, who's like from Moorhead. You're like, where the hell is Moorhead? And he's going to get a chance to compete with, I don't know, the Combine list isn't out yet, but let's just make this up. Let's say it would have been Fernando, right? And you get to see Jack Strand and Fernando. You get to see like these two. I love the Combine because it gives us a chance to compare quarterbacks. It lets us see their arm and then go through the same types of drills and just sort of see how they compete against each other. So that's one of my favorite parts of the Combine.
Right. I mean, obviously, since so many other teams will also get to see the same player, if he happens to have the positive results in the Combine, then of course he's no longer a best kept secret.
Well,
and now the Jets are going to have to compete against all these other teams for that young man. And I'm telling you, these mock drafts, it's incredible what one can do with them.
Thank you to Dave Briga, by the way. Apparently Moorhead is in Kentucky. Thank you, Dave Briga, for that.
Yes.
Appreciate
that. Moorhead State, I think it is.
Yes, right.
Yes, yeah. But I'm getting back to the Jets.
Sure.
The waking nightmare.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I try to be optimistic and with Reich. Hopefully, the Jets offense will at least look decent under him compared to what we've had the last 2-3 years.
That's not that that's
better.
Saying much, right? Yeah, right. Yeah, it should be better by default, but how much better?
Yeah.
Let's hope for some respectability.
You know, it's funny though. If AG actually starts off well, in other words, it looks like he's turned the team around. Imagine all the fans are going to say, "Oh, he fucking messed up again."
I hope so. I hope a lot of Jet fans are eating crow. I hope Aaron Glenn starts 2-1 or something and quiets
I hope
the
so
day.
too.
Because there's just a ton of negativity around the program right now. There's a lot of negativity in the fan base, and I don't. Again, I understand we stink and we haven't won in a long time, so I understand why it exists. But it's just a very dark place right now in the social media streets or your normal Jet streets. You're wearing Jets stuff out in the audience and you get made fun of left and right. So, yeah, I would love nothing more than the AD to shut people up and win a couple of games, go 2-1, 2-0, and you're like, can breathe a little bit. And hopefully the team feels that too.
Yeah, unfortunately, he has the tendency of shutting so many out because he wants to quiet that outside noise, which unfortunately includes the Jet fan base, not just the media. So he needs to fix that. He needs to fix that. I mean, he is definitely a person who is very confident in himself. And maybe he will, in fact, prove us wrong, and that the confidence that he has in himself is actually well placed and is able to turn this franchise around, because it's been well over a decade and a half, and it's about time we start having something to really cheer about for a change, and rub it in the faces of some other fan bases out there who have been giving us a hard time.
Well, our chances against Miami twice a year just got vastly improved.
I hope so. I really hope so. I hope that the team plays a lot better within division.
I'm sure Hackett can do wonders with their quarterbacks.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Well, hopefully next week I'll be in North Carolina visiting my sister for my birthday, which falls next Thursday. And so I sent her a picture of myself saying, see, I wish this beard, I had it when I was 20, without the gray, of course. Plus about 50 pounds lighter, but that's another story. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm wishing everyone a wonderful weekend. You know,
thank you, sir.
You too.
Hug those kids. Beautiful, and I'm sorry about all that snow that you've been buried in up there in Oswego.
Yeah, right. I am.
The kids are enjoying it.
Yeah, we're supposed to get more here Saturday.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, stay safe out there. Yeah, that's
some are saying at least another foot of snow, and it's like, oh great,
dear God.
Just what I needed before I make my trip out to North Carolina. And
exactly.
they're also getting snow the same day.
Yeah.
Bill, let me leave you with an optimistic note.
Oh, great.
The Jets don't have to get better. The rest of the league just has to get worse.
See,
that's
Bob,
not
this is why
Bob,
this is why we bring you on the show. Again, if you're getting chased by a bear, you don't have to be faster than the bear. You just got to be faster than the other guy.
Just have to call out to the mountain lion to take care of the bear for you.
I'll give you an analogy that matches yours, Bob. It's like the one where you finally have the girl of your dreams by your side and you're kissing her and enjoying the whole thing until your alarm clock goes off and you realize it was just a dream.
Yeah, that's the worst. So then you're making out with your pillow.
Yeah, it's like, no.
Get
God,
me back
why
in
are
there.
you teasing me this way?
Yep. It's the worst for all of us, Bill. Appreciate it. And again, safe travels to North Carolina.
Wow.
If you could get out there for that.
What a time of the year to enjoy the weather.
Isn't it? Let's get one last call in. It's your favorite, Johnny Boy, here on the program with the Let Us Out.
Hey, Johnny, how you feeling?
Feeling well, man. Just, taking it. Glad that I'm not stuck in all of that insane amount of snow that Boy Green had to deal with.
That is true.
Them videos of him showing, I don't know if anybody else watched it, but bro, I was nervous for you, dog, because I saw them sharp-looking freaking whatever the hell they were called that was on the edge of the roof itself.
Icicles.
Yeah. And I'm like, I hope this does not fall on anybody walking outside just randomly, straight.
My neighbor said, I've never seen it happen, of course, but like the icicle, you guys can watch it in the shorts, and people apparently are requesting more snow content, less Jets content. I'll try to do that. Thank you.
Johnny Boy, where do you live, Johnny Boy?
I live in Virginia Beach.
Yeah, he's with Devin in Virginia.
Oh,
yep. So
I'm
down beach, boy.
And apparently, my neighbor says that someone got struck by one of those icicles before, and it just apparently it did a number, it cut them pretty deep. So I was like, oh, so I had to be careful. And then though I have to check it today, the one on my house, there's one from my roof that's almost touching the ground, it's like 8 or 9 feet. So I should probably take care of that in some form or fashion. So we'll work on that. Yeah.
Hey, so I wanted to come up here. I don't know if you guys have talked about it yet because I've been in and out of a couple of meetings. But the whole John Gruden thing that came out, and he stated that he did not have any contact with the Jets, and it's all been a rumor.
Yeah, let's see this. So let's do this because I've seen a few people have been bringing it up. They've been bringing it up in the comment section, and we have not brought it to the attention of what you just highlighted. I was aware of this, Johnny, but there's been a few people who have said it out in the audience. So what I want to do here is I want to play the clip for people who have not seen it. So let's sort of go back to the beginning and let's talk about this. I'm glad that you brought this up, Johnny boy. So John Gruden, everyone knows John Gruden, Super Bowl winning coach, and he unceremoniously 5 years ago had to resign from the Las Vegas Raiders, and he hasn't been doing anything outside of that. He was a consultant for the Saints, but that was sort of more informal, and so he's just sort of been hanging around. Now he's been at Barstool Sports most recently. According to Zach Rosenblatt of The Athletic, the Jets reached out to John Gruden, to Chucky, to gauge his interest in a potential role on the New York Jets staff. And I believe, actually, let me get all the facts on the table here. I believe I still have Zach Rosenblatt's tweet, so we can read it verbatim of what it was. Where's old Chucky? Ah, there he is. Okay, let's throw this up on the screen first. So this is what started all the hoopla. This, according to Zach Rosenblatt. The Jets reached out to John Gruden about the idea of joining Aaron Glenn's staff. According to sources, Gruden wasn't interested in the job. Okay, so that goes crazy, of course. Again, this screenshot was from a couple of days ago. It had 2 million views. That has many more views by now. John Gruden is a very publicly, what's the right word to put this? Like, he does podcast, like he's around. Like, it's not like he lives in a mountain in the Great White North. Like, he can be reached. And to your point, Johnny, he was on a recent radio interview, and he was asked about this Jets thing and going viral and all this other stuff. And John Gruden had a response. I'm about to play it here in a second. We're waiting for this the video to upload here. We'll have it for you guys in just a second. And John Gruden denied that. But what I'm curious about as this video is uploading, and we'll have it here in just a second, is people are saying, Zach Rosen hack. He's a liar. He's a liar. Did John Gruden deny that he was offered a job? Did the Jets offer a job? Were the Jets just sort of poking around? So it sounds like he confirmed that there was some sort of a conversation, but we just don't know exactly what the conversation was. So I'm a little confused on what it is, because obviously, and I understand Jet fans should be very defensive of this, that I assume the purpose of putting that information out there in the universe is to dunk on the Jets, to make them look bad. That, look, see, the Jets stink, and look at this coach. He also told them to go pound sand. But before we play the clip, Johnny, please, you wanted to bring this up on the show. So as I'm attempting to fix the technical things behind the scenes so everyone can hear it, I think context is important. Please, go ahead.
It's a hit piece. Right? It's a hit piece because they're trying to get back at AG for the way he's mistreated the media off the rip of itself. And they do not like it. I said it way before this thing even came out. I was like, watch, it's going to start going out crazy. You're going to start seeing it's essentially what Alan was saying the other day when we were having the conversation about that Woody Johnson needs to come out to kind of set everything straight, because we have no information from the higher ups. That's in Glenn, that's in Muji, that's in Woody Johnson itself. So people are going to start picking and choosing, making things up essentially, and just start putting it out there for everybody to start going against each other. Be like, oh, look at that. Even John Gruden doesn't want to come over here, but he has to come out to say, dude, I never know. That was not it. Never had a conversation. It was a whole straight rumor that has not occurred. Now, are some of the moves that AG right now has done kind of has you scratching your head? Yes, but I also respect it in the sense that he's going to go. If he's going to go, he's going to go by his own sword. Okay, and as simple as that. Like, it is what it is at this point. Yes, why not? We asked the previous regime to have Saleh take over the play calling from Ulbrich in the very jump. It was very similar to this because people were calling for Saleh's head prior to that. And he just did it, and he's doing it. And he said, you know what? It's my way or the highway. And it is what it is. I just, like Tanner, I was never a Tanner guy, Bob. Like, and you know that. I was never a Tanner guy. There was sometimes there's these play calls that I would be like, why are we doing this? You just saw Brees Hall run in to a stacked line that they were stacking the box on him constantly. They're like, hey, Brees, let's run the same play all over again, and maybe it'll change on 4th down. But that's Aaron Glenn's fault. You know, there's never no like context to it, or the reasoning this. Why weren't we using the tight ends? Why weren't you using the strength of what you had in Justin Fields? Was there a lot of strength on Justin Fields? No, but his legs weren't being utilized. Why did every single quarterback that you inserted was straight trash? Why were you making Brady Cook throw outside the numbers knowing that he does not have an arm like that? I never understood it. I never understood why he never utilized the tight ends, put those schemes in there for them. You know, he was trying to make Ruckert be something that he's not. Ruckert is more your traditional type of tight end where blocking is more important to them. He had to go to Ohio to go learn how to block because he wasn't doing that in Long Island when he was playing in high school over there. The cat was just super big, catching touchdowns over kids that were like, 4'9" or whatever. I just, again, there's just so much stuff that's going on right now, and everybody's just bashing, just the bash of itself. And I get it. We have not won anything. We haven't been competitive at all and everything. But this dude took over a regime that was on the decline, okay? Because that defense was straight trash. Straight trash. The special teams was not good of itself. We were hoping and praying that, our offense last year would score 42 points or something like that just to try to keep up with everybody else and maybe win more games, but just didn't happen. So the Gruden thing comes out. He says what he says. I knew the biggest knock was going to be, and it went on the Pat McAfee show. Them cats are up there just straight trashing the New York Jets. They're like, oh, you could have saved the flight for Aaron Rodgers not to come over here. But look, he did this now with Gruden and all that before fact checking it, talking with Gruden and him being like, nah, dog, that did not happen. I never spoke to anybody in the Jets organization itself. So,
all right. So here's what I'm going to do. So this is the most ghetto way to do this, but for some reason my computer isn't working. So I'm going to play this off my phone, people. And we have some Jake Asman gifted memberships. We'll get to that in a second. This is from a local radio show speaking with John Gruden, and I'll give their proper credit here in just a second. This is the conversation. You're going to hear the host first, and then I'm just going to put it close to the microphone, and then John Gruden's response. So here we go.
John, I want to ask you, there was a report that the New York Jets had reached out to you about possibly joining their staff and you declined. Can you tell us anything about that?
Well, there's a lot of reports we're not going to get into. As you know, there's a lot of stupid rumors out there. Some of these reports are ridiculous. Let's just say that there was never anything from the Jets, and I wish them well in their search for a new offensive coordinator.
I would take that.
And there you go. That is the interview. Now, what I have heard from other people, so you guys can all read the truth here of what that actually is he doesn't seem like he denies a call. He says there wasn't anything with the Jets. So some people are saying that there was an exploratory phone call, but like he wasn't interested in it. So I don't know what the truth is of what the real thing is. By the way, that radio station, I love giving credit, 95.3 WDAE and AM 620 there for the radio call. So
the voice of Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That's it. There you go. That's it as well. By the way, real quick, I want to make sure I don't lose these from Jake. It's good to have Jake Asman in the chat. A couple of gifted memberships. Wow. He did it twice. Here's another gifted membership. Beautiful. Thank you to Jake Asman, who's watching. Did great work at the Senior Bowl this week. Okay, here are the two new members to the Boy Green Coffee Club, by the way. That is Delray Doc, and that is Jets Fan SoCal. Thank you to Jake Asman for gifting those. Jake Asman, you're up to 11 raffle tickets. But go ahead. Now that we've heard the footage here, Johnny boy, for that John Gruden action.
Yeah, I just again, like you hear it. I mean, and if they had a call, so what? He can't another head coach. He's been saying it all year that he's reached out to other coaches that have been in
That's
similar
a good point.
scenarios, right? And has asked for like, hey, what could you have done this? Because you know why? He didn't have that with Wilkes. And yo, BG, remember, I asked you, I said, who has more pressure? Wilkes?
Oh, yes, I remember, yes.
And we kept saying Wilkes because Wilkes, well, I think you said Tanner because of the offense, but I was saying Wilkes because Wilkes was that veteran guy. He was a head coach in the league at one point, right? Knew what could have potentially occurred and all that, and it was asking for them, but he wasn't getting it for him. The dude was just bad. And it's like, what were the expectations for the New York Jets this year? What was it? Like,
not good. Yeah.
Going to beat it? No, it wasn't. It's going to be bad. And if I'm being honest with you guys, and I know this shit sucks to say this, but it's probably going to be bad this year too. The growing pains are going to happen. It's going to be there. Again, Rome was not built in just one day. It takes time. And we got to get the crap that was in there that had that mentality of losing. That's all they've ever known. It's infectious when it's in there. People are going to be like, I missed the tackle. It's cool. Instead of having one of the guys come inside and be like, bro, why'd you miss that tackle? You suck. Get out of there. Sit your ass up on the bench. But you can't because why?
Johnny, if they have a second bad year, does Aaron Glenn survive?
Does Aaron Glenn survive? If I've said it, no. Because, and it's not off of Aaron Glenn, it is because of the media and because of the fan base. The fan base has been so loud and saying everything like that. Woody Johnson is hearing it itself. And Woody Johnson likes to be a man of the people, I guess, for some reason, instead of them being, up in the damn booth, just chilling or whatever, not rocking some Air Force Ones, a gold chain, or whatever the hell he was wearing. Like, dude, work in the shadows. Let the people that are football analysts and everything like that need to really be there do what they're supposed to do, and just let them rock. We don't need that in here. But is he gonna do that? I don't know. He's probably gonna listen because he's done it in the past. You guys have heard it. But if he starts 0-6, dude, the chatter of it is gonna be. If he starts 0-6, I think he's gone. Unfortunately. And I want Aaron Glenn to succeed. And this is coming, Bob, from a guy that did not want Aaron Glenn from the very beginning. I was on board I wanted Ben Johnson. I was for Brian Flores. I wanted those guys in here prior to it.
Yeah, I don't see any purpose to replacing him during the season, to be honest with you. Let it ride out as whatever direction it's going to go. And if they have a terrible season, they have a terrible season. Putting in a replacement assistant coach is not going to make the team any better. So you either buy into what Aaron Glenn is trying to do in changing the culture and the mindset of the players, or you don't. And that's what I would do. I don't expect a great season, but I don't see any purpose in replacing him during the season.
Yeah, neither do I, by the way. Neither do I.
I just want consistency, man. Like, I want him to build it, and then it's being built, and you're seeing it, instead of it being like, oh, 1 year, 2 year, it's done. That's it, man. Dude, the organization has been bad. How many seasons has it been since we haven't had a winning season? How many seasons?
10 years or 11 years, technically. Yeah.
How many seasons has it been since we've been in the playoffs?
15.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, how come there's nothing to that? But I could tell you there's other organizations that have been bad, but they get no slack, right? Because it's not the New York Jets. It's not the Jets easy punching bag of the NFL right now. How come Oakland didn't get any crap?
Well, we're too close to this team. In Las Vegas, the Raiders are under a lot of pressure. They're under a lot of pressure because they're not only going to get the quarterback of their dreams, but they got to build an offensive line to protect him, and that's going to be a real challenge.
But I get what you're saying, Johnny boy. I understand where you're coming from, where we are close to the sun.
Meeting. Pleasure speaking.
Yes.
I know nobody's going to like the whole take with AG, but you Boy Green, Bob, you guys have known how I stand, and I'll say, right, I could give two shits, right? Because my opinion and my opinion only
of course.
of itself, right? But I respect everybody else's opinion on anything because it's their opinion and it's their right, and they're able to say it, and they should be able to say it, right? But you're going to take some strike. You're going to take some fire for it as well. So stand on your ground, keep doing what you got to do. And at this point, man, look, it is what it is. Like, he's here.
100%.
Get on the jet because we built for this shit, and I'm out.
Damn straight. There he is, Johnny Boy, here on the program. Let's get a super chat in, and then I have one more thing to say about this John Gruden thing, and then we'll wrap up the show here. Chef Kevin Gilbert with the super chat. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Wow.
Rome wouldn't exist if Woody and AG were involved. Oh, Chef Kevin Gilbert. You give me good laughs, Chef Kevin Gilbert. Appreciate it. You're now up to 16 raffle tickets so far this month. Thank you, Chef. I appreciate your candor. I would say this on the John Gruden thing. Now, hearing it again and everyone's thoughts on it, I think this is a situation where multiple things can be true. Did the Jets say, hey, John Gruden, do you want to be the offensive coordinator? I don't know if that happened. But it sounds like from how Zach Rosenblatt tweeted it out that the Jets did, in fact, call John Gruden and say, hey, would you be interested? A curiosity, an inquiry. And John Gruden says, no, thanks. And while I don't think AG or John Gruden ever intended for that phone call to get out to the public, that information, because it makes the Jets look bad that the Jets were rejected and all these other things, I don't think John Gruden in his call where they say, see, look, Zach Rosenblatt's a liar. If John Gruden really did reject the Jets, why would he want that in the universe? Why would he want to dunk on the Jets? If he's really attempted to get back into the NFL one day, he doesn't want to burn a bridge and say, look, screw this team, screw that team. So again, I think two things are true here. I don't think Zach Rosenblatt just lied and that didn't happen. I think it did. A phone call happened. I don't know what happened on the phone call, but my guess is that it was just curiosity. And if John Gruden showed no interest, okay, thanks, no worries. Boop, hang up the phone. Well, why not call?
I can tell you that as a business reporter for over 35 years, you're only as good as your sources. And sometimes your sources, as much as they think they've got the accurate information, they don't. It's, there's a difference between saying that John Gruden was interested and John Gruden might be interested. I would guess, since John Gruden has denied it, that maybe someone who's close to John Gruden was asked by the Jets or by somebody else.
Sure, that's possible.
You think John might be interested, and they would have said absolutely not. But they might have explained. They might not have explained. He's not interested in an assistant position. He's only interested in the head coaching.
Correct. Right. It could have been an agent conversation. Right. Yes.
Hey, can I ask you a question? Because this has been something I'm interested in all the time.
Sure.
Do you have any update on Indy's situation?
I do not. I see him in the chat often, which is nice. Again, our love and everything is sent out to Indy during this time. But no, I don't have any other updates than what has been provided. But I do have communication path to him, so I will continue to.
Send him my best the next time you send him a note.
Of course, and again, we're all thinking about Indy right now, and again, guys, it just makes you he just needs our love right now. That's what.
So you coming on this afternoon if the Jets make a decision today about the OC?
I don't know if it'll be a live show. It'll definitely at least be some short content to come out. I'll definitely have some articles, so we'll see if the opportunity presents itself.
I think it's coming.
Yeah, it may be. Again, I keep looking at my phone because I keep getting alerts, but it's alerts for nonsensical things. Like, people, stop texting me right now, for God's sakes. I'm waiting for some big news here. Yes, hopefully that is the case. And yes, I just sent a note over to Indy real quick to send them our regards. Well, everybody, thank you. A near 3-hour show. Shout out to Nick Corte for joining us. A very smart individual, way smarter than I am. And it was good to hear some of his thoughts on where the Jets stand. And again, wow, a lot of really good conversations out here in the audience. So, Bob, another fun show is in the books.
Thank you, and thank you for not scheduling it to start at 7:00 your time.
Again, that will exclusively be a Monday thing. So, Bob,
why is it a Monday thing?
So Drew Beatty, who is our draft analyst, good for him. He got hired by not the team, but it's a website that covers a team. Paul Kaharski, I'm not sure if you know who that is. He's been covering the Tennessee Titans for a long time.
Mhm.
And Drew Beatty got basically an NFL opportunity to do his scouting and everything for his favorite team, which is awesome. Good for him.
Sure.
But his new schedule says, I mean, I could be on with you for like 15 minutes, Paul, and that wouldn't be bad, and that I could have kept the show the normal show. But he said, if we start earlier, I'll give you more time. I'll wake up earlier. I'll do whatever to make it happen. I said, man, that's a nice gesture by him to be willing to do it. Why wouldn't I be willing to accommodate? And his draft coverage is really good. So yes, that is the sole reason. Not because I have some innate, gut feel. You know what? 7:30 just isn't early enough. That's definitely not it. But hey, you know what? You do what you do for
And
the
he's
brand.
he's in the central time zone, right?
He is. So he is a time zone back. So he is. He's a real trooper. And even further for when sometimes he travels. So sometimes it's even worse. But hey, absolute salute to him for doing it. That is. He is absolutely doing God's work, but I really appreciate it because that is as well. And I see Jake Asmans.
It'd be fascinating to hear what he, like everybody else, thinks of what happened, with the Senior Bowl.
Of course. And again, someone who was at the Senior Bowl is down there, and Jake Ashman, prayers to Indy Jets. Thank you, Jake, for sending that along. And thank you, everyone who's been sending along lovely notes for Indy, who shared some of his story here on the show about what he's going through. So again, we're all thinking about Indy. Fascinating. All right, let's get one more call in because we got to get Tommy, our boy, OG Jets fan 1985 here on the show real quick before we sign off. What's up, Tommy?
Hey, Tommy.
BG.
Hey, what's up, brother?
Bob, how are you guys?
We're good.
Hopefully got a good breakfast going on there, Tommy. Hopefully got a good breakfast going on there. Oh, some business meeting.
Where? Okay. Sorry, guys.
Okay. No. That's okay.
Good. I don't want to get locked out of my work job here.
Yeah. Please don't. Yeah.
Morning break. Just to split it up. Like with all the other conversations, I got a lot of things that I want to talk about with the quarterbacks and all this, but Bob, did you ever actually meet Joe Namath or any of these famous Emerson Boozer or and did you ever actually meet any of these players in their time in the prime?
I mean, I was introduced to Joe at they had a 50th anniversary reunion at the stadium. And they all stayed in the same hotel in Florham Park Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And so I got to meet probably 30 of the surviving Jet players. I had talked to them on the phone. I had met a dozen of them a couple of years earlier at a signing ceremony where they'd all been hanging around. And so I got to meet them. I've told this story. I was introduced to Namath and he turned around and walked away.
Really?
Didn't like the name of my book.
Ooh.
Beyond Broadway Joe did not sit well with Joe Namath.
Okay.
His agent, who I talked to, who actually got a copy of the book, came up to me that weekend and said, "Hell of a book. You did a really good job." So I took that as a compliment, but Namath was upset for some reason. And Pete Lamons, who was one of Joe's best friends on the team, who introduced him to me, immediately turned to me and said, "Hey, don't judge Joe on what he just did. He's really a good guy and he's very philanthropic." And my response was, listen, I can only make a judgment now as to what just happened. I don't expect him to be my buddy. I made good friends with a handful of the guys from the Super Bowl team. I said, but all I would have expected from Joe was a handshake and nice to meet you and walk away. Because he was in great demand, obviously, standing in the lobby. Of course. But he didn't want to have anything to do with me, and so be it. I mean, there's nothing I can do. Do I hold it against him? Yeah. I know that he still was the difference maker in that game, so I will always love him for that. But on a personal level, no. I never met Boozer. He was not in good shape. at that time. But I met Snell, I met Philbin, I met Al Atkins. I met almost everybody on the team.
Pretty cool.
Short of
My
Joe.
question, Bob. My other question is: was Joe Namath actually like cool with Don Maynard off the field?
Oh yeah,
they were good, like good friends.
They were tight. They were really tight.
Okay, that's why they had the connection. Like that's why they work so good.
Maynard is the one who stepped up because he was a veteran and said,
Right.
"You and I are going to have to click." And so, from the earliest days of Joe becoming a professional, the two of them that season put in a lot of extra time out on the field, along with George Sauer Jr. They wanted to make the connection, the physical connection between them, and the timing and everything else stand out. And boy, they really did.
And Bob, don't you think that that's what it takes for a quarterback to have connection and timing with wide receivers? Like you can't just throw.
You hear that all the time, even on every broadcast. And yeah, it is. And it isn't automatic, and it isn't something that happens, with every situation. It can be a hard thing to do. And Maynard didn't even make it easy because Maynard would break routes all the time. And the story goes that he would go out on, whatever, on a simple, down and out, I call it, because I'm not a professional player, never have been. He played on the streets. And Maynard would raise his hand so Namath could see I'm breaking my route. And that usually meant he was going deep. And Joe loved to throw deep, so he was ready for it.
Guys, Bob and BG, I love you. I love your context. Love all your content. Like, that's why I call in every. I don't call in, but I tune in on all your shows.
Tommy, seriously, buy a copy of my book. Because of the kind of questions you just asked. Buy a copy of my book. Love to sign it for you. Paul can show you how I can do it. But regardless of that, read the book. You will find it fascinating because of the kind of questions you just asked.
So, Bob, what's the easiest way that I can purchase the book?
The easiest way is on Amazon, and Paul will give you the information if you give him, a contact as to how he needs to talk to you. Because basically, you buy the book, have it sent to me, I will sign it, and I will mail it to you.
I'm waiting for it. I'm working as we speak. Actually, I'm not working. I'm getting paid.
You'll love it, and I'd love to hear from you. About what you liked about the book, what you found most interesting.
Awesome.
I only have a kid, but it's not far from true. I only have to sell about 12,000 more copies before I start getting royalties.
We're getting closer.
Ain't going to happen anytime soon.
The only thing that I love more than and I love reading, but like the thing is, like with my eyes are starting to get bad. So my eyes are starting.
You can buy an audio. You can buy an audio book, and it'll be read to you.
Yeah, and I would still buy the book just to have it. You know what I mean? Just to put it up.
Right. I've had people come up to me and say, "Hey, I may never even open it up, but I'd love to have an autographed copy." And what? Over time, I've come to appreciate that because I was invited to a book fair in Savannah, Georgia, when the book came out, and I wondered, why the heck do they want me in Savannah, Georgia? And there was a room full of about 100 Jet fans from back in the '60s who had retired in the area, and they wanted to have autographed copies because it was a keepsake for them. And one guy who invited me said, "This is the book that everybody is going to look at 50 years from now, after everybody is gone."
Well said.
This is the story from these individual perspectives, because the book is really chapter by chapter about all the living players who could talk to me and would talk to me. And there were only two exceptions, and Joe was one and Randy Beverly was the other.
Wow. Pretty good.
Hey, I'm gonna let you get to BG. I love you, brother. Bob, if you don't mind me asking one quick question, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you? How young are you? My dad's 70.
73, and I'll be 74 in a couple of months.
Okay, so you're 3 years younger than my father.
I was 16 on Super Bowl III Sunday.
Wow, there you go.
God bless you guys. Yo, Bob.
You too.
Thank you for doing everything that you did for all your life, because we as Jet fans, we suffered for so long. We at least need to hear a little bit of positive.
Yeah, they're going to do it again.
Thanks, Tommy.
I'll tell you when, but thank you, Tommy.
There he is, Tommy, joining us here on the program. Great call. And sorry to interrupt your breakfast there, Tommy. But thank you for calling into the program.
It was great to hear from a fan who really is into it.
Yes.
Understands. Yeah.
Again, as some, I could speak for myself, but again, the book's over my left shoulder there, that I am a nerd for the history of the Jets. I am a nerd for football history in general, and those two things obviously coincide here for this wonderful book. So, folks, if you haven't already,
it's no surprise that the subhead of the book is the Super Bowl team that changed football, because it did in so many different ways.
100%. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Again, we have 500 people in the room. As you guys are on the way out, please hit that like button. Shout out to the people that are watching on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, the replay, or the audio-only version of this podcast, which is available even for those that are blind. I have that available as an option for you as well. So God bless everybody.
Have
Thank
a great
you.
weekend, everybody.
Yep. Stay warm, and we'll see you tomorrow.